Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Trent and Zyori podcast. This is episode number 145. It's 10 a.m. here on the mountain coast, or mountains, 9 a.m. on the Pacific coast. It is May 13th, 2019, the day after the conclusion of the MDL Disney Major. A lot to unpack today. We're going to dive into it, the results, some of the games. Not as many upsets in this one, but still a nice long tournament to take a look at. The end of this one, we're talking some Game of Thrones. Those of you that have not watched the latest episode, you're going to want to turn this podcast off in about 45 minutes because that's when things are going to get heavy. We're breaking it all down. Trent and I are pretty angry. We've got a lot of opinions we need to express before you have a chance to reply. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, we are going to continue talking about this Tier 3, Tier 2 nonsense going on in Dota right now, the conversation that seems to be the gift that keeps on giving. Trent, buddy, welcome back to the podcast. What's going on, man?
Pleasure to be back on the podcast with all y'all. So, yes, well, we're going to do our best not to talk about Game of Thrones the first 50 minutes, so don't worry. But my God, it's like all I can think of right now. It's been fun. It's an excellent cultural experience, but we'll get to that later because the true culture, of course, that we all love is Dota 2. And we just had another major wrap up. There's only one left.
I can't believe it, dude. We're at the tail end of the circuit. We made it all the way through. We know.
I can't believe we made it.
We made it.
As someone famously said near the end of a minor broadcast.
I can't believe it. You know, I thought we were all going to flop over dead, and here we are, stronger for the experience. Team Secret, of course, taking the victory 3-1 in the best-of-5 finals over Team Liquid. Somebody predicted it right.
I think that might have been you.
It was this guy. I know it was a bold claim, but Secret, uncontested best team in the world right now, I say.
Yeah, very true. It's hard to believe how they're so good. They actually just make everyone look so bad.
Yeah.
How can one team be so glorious?
I was going to ask you that very question.
Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Friend.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be going back over this week and watching a lot of it because I kind of had to do like the, the train view, as I remember my professors used to call it whenever they had to cover way too much shit in a couple of days. It's like you're sitting on a train and everything's just kind of going by. That was kind of me with this major, where I feel like I watched most of the games, or at least got to tune in, but I didn't get to, I didn't get to actively watch. There's a big difference between just like enjoying a game and the hype and everything like that versus going back to a replay, rewinding it every 15 seconds, going, "Oh shit, did you see what he just did right there?" Yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing one of those over the next week to kind of look at just how Secret is so dominant.
Yeah, I'm pretty with you on that. I watched probably a good third of it. It's rough. It started pretty early our time. Of course, we got to cast a little bit of the group stage, so we saw a number of teams in the opener. But once we got to the playoff bracket, the upper bracket finals was pretty incredible. Of course, that was Secret versus EG. Then Evil Geniuses knocked out by Team Liquid in the lower bracket finals. Round before that, Liquid also knocked out PSG, LGD. And the round before that, they knocked out OG. Round before that, they knocked out Vici Gaming. So even though Liquid didn't take first place at the event, they had a pretty significant run in the lower bracket, and they were the monster that ruined the hope for a lot of these other Tier 1 teams.
Yeah, that was one of those... that must help your ELO ratings, I feel like, a lot as Liquid, right? Like, look at the teams they just beat. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, I had LGD potentially winning. I thought, I knew it was a little bit of a long shot, but that was the team I kind of picked to take the victory here. And they looked good. I mean, LGD, same thing, right? They had another great lower bracket run. It started kind of similarly, right? Liquid had to take down Pain first. LGD had to take down Complexity. So, just getting rid of those America's teams. Like, get out of here, guys. We've got some real Dota to play. And then Virtus Pro had to be taken down by PSG LGD, and then Ninjas in Pajamas, and then, of course, they fell 2-1 to Liquid. So,
yeah.
And I think that did secure, if I'm not mistaken, LGD as well, though. I think am I correct that we have 8 teams actually locked in? It was a lot more than I thought. It's 8 teams currently locked into TI.
So, right now, locked into TI, we've got Virtus Pro. No, wait, this is wrong. Sorry,
it's Team Secret, Virtus Pro, Evil Geniuses.
I am looking
Gaming.
at the outdated rankings, though. Why do I have the old ones up here? Take me to the new ones. Liquipedia.
And then LGD's 5th, followed by Fnatic, Liquid, and then Ninjas in Pajamas also securing. Which I gotta say, nice redemption for Ninjas in Pajamas, frankly, to I
Yeah.
mean, obviously they still got a lot of their points from when Mind Control played, but they played really well this major and minor.
Yeah. So
It's
100% locked. So right now in ninth, we've got Keen with 1140. Then we've got OG sitting at 948. And then after that, it's TNC at 696. So 8 teams locked in. Of course, 12 make it through DPC. So those last 4 slots going to be very highly contested. And I think it'll be pretty interesting to see who actually makes it. Because you look at all those teams, they've all had moments on this circuit where they've looked pretty good, but I think inconsistency is kind of the name of the game for all those squads. Keen, OG, TNC, eHome. Sure, J-Storm fits in there. I guess Alliance, also a contender if they have a really good run at this next minor major. I think they basically have to qualify for the major to have a chance, but still, that's kind of cool.
it is it's gonna be really interesting to see how this breaks down the qualifier slots for TI, right?
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the qualifier slots, it's 1 slot from every region gets added, right? And that's our TI, I
think
believe.
so.
So if you think about that, Europe is going to already has Team Secret, Liquid, Ninjas in Pajamas all secured. And then OG's like kind of close. I mean, obviously OG's number 10 on the entire list. But like, what if OG at the next major secures their invite to TI?
Then it looks like Alliance is going to TI, bro.
Well, yeah, then it's like Alliance, and then people who are talking about like, oh my god, why would Chaos move to Europe? Which, kind of is your first reaction, because you're like, damn, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Well, if Weehaw wasn't planning on playing in this minor and major, like I don't know if he's coming back. It kind of at first sounded like he was coming back, like he's just taking a break, but now it kind of sounds like he's not coming back for TI. If so, then I mean, honestly, even if he does come back for TI, it makes sense to be in Europe because it's actually going to be one of the least competitive regions.
Yeah. So
competitive.
let's see, what is the current active squad for Chaos Esports Club? So May 12th, this was yesterday, they announced the new roster: HFN, Gunner, Kezu, Milan, and Misery. So 4 Europeans and 1 Brazilian. HFN sticking around. So they've broken up this trio now of Tavo, King RD, HFN. Hasn't that been one of the staple trios for South America? Those 3 guys have been playing together on a lot of different squads for a number of years. It's a little bit of a heartbreaker.
Yeah, King RD seemed to take it really rough. He's on a break too. He said it happened very suddenly. Looked to be the way he said it. So wait, what did you call Gunner EU?
Oh yeah, he's USA. My bad.
Oh.
1 South American, 1 North American, 3 Europeans.
Sorry,
I was looking at the wrong
listening
flag.
to you.
My bad. That one's on me. The flags are very itty bitty. It's hard to tell at that little granular level. Yeah, of course, Gunner, the North American squad. So Europe it is for them. I guess let's stay on this topic.
Minor it is for them, as we're talking about these guys, because they did not make it through the major opens.
Uh-oh.
So they have to do the minor opens now.
That means, oh god. So their trek to the major is going to be qualifying through the opens of the minor and then winning the minor to get that place at the major, and then they have to make the run there. Jesus.
So,
do you know who they were eliminated by in the open qualifiers? Was it at least like a notable squad?
I did. No, not really. It was not a notable squad. There were notable players. I think Nikwa's squad. I think Nikwa was on it, I want to say.
Okay. All right. So not complete pushovers, but still, that's not a great sign for a new squad. So thoughts overall about Chaos leaving South America? Was this inevitable? I saw the little 2-minute video that Pandego posted just talking about how it was more difficult than they thought. Like even just selling merch was a really tall order.
That struck me as the most Gerg statement of all time, by the way. Did that get you as well?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I definitely saw the business side coming out there. Well, I mean, we can't even sell merch, so
we can't sell merch.
Fuck the whole thing. Pull the plug.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I didn't think it was that inevitable. I thought it made a lot of sense. I mean, we were just talking about all the benefits of having this team in South America that looks like they're probably the best team there, and getting these constant invites to the majors and everything.
Yeah.
To just rip that out suddenly is just like, well, shit. I guess we really should have bought that South American team now.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was a sign of what could be regarded as maybe a knee-jerk reaction based on long-term perspectives. You know, like Chaos Esports Club is not one of these player-owned orgs. They're backed by a real investor group. They're looking for returns. And to them, I think if their analysis is that the South American region is going to continue to struggle, the issues that they're up against are not going to be easily solved in the next 1 to 2 years, I can totally understand the investor pressure to say, hey, let's pull the plug and switch to a region that just makes more sense. Higher caliber of players, less bottlenecks, easier way to build up our brand.
More buying capita.
Closer proximity to more events, right? I mean, we just had 2 majors that were in Europe. The minor was also in Europe. Like, if you're a European team right now, you're feeling pretty okay about the current state of affairs in Dota. If you're North American, you're pretty fucking pissed off. But I think if you're European, you're all right just flying Stockholm to Croatia to Paris and everywhere in between.
Even North Americans can't be that pissed. They're like, I mean, it sucks, but whatever. It's like 5 hours. South America, it's hell.
Mm-hmm.
Flights from South America are the worst. I talk to the players at every event, and they're always just like dead.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
there's not a lot of
those
connections.
teams are like,
there's less flight times. It's just
it's
shittier.
like 15 hours sometimes. Like, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
That's, no thank you.
No, it's definitely brutal.
And then the contrast to that was we talked to PPD a bit at Dota Pit, right? Where he was talking about how it's so great living in Stockholm. Like, he hasn't had to travel far at all.
Yeah.
He hasn't been back to his apartment in the USA the entire year.
Yeah. Yeah. As people are pointing out on Twitch chat, even our like traditional North American organizations are gravitating towards a lot more European players, probably for similar market pressures that we're talking about right here. So overall, I was disappointed to hear the news. I was just talking to the manager of Team Majestic at the minor as well, just to get a little more perspective on the scene. And we were talking about like how great it is that Chaos is there and starting to mix in these players like Misery and Weehaw into the scene and sharing some of that experience with the lesser experienced players and stuff, and how that is just a value add. We were definitely a bit nervous about sustainability in the ecosystem because players like Misery and Weehaw are used to, European tier 1 standards in terms of salary and accommodations and economies of scale and whatnot. Paying a player $5,000 a month to play in South America is like the cost of all of the salaries of 5 South American players. So it's just a world of difference. And I always wondered how sustainable that would be in the long term, trying to mix in these, truly tried and true, like tier 1 players that have a lot of accolades, because they're worth that amount of money. And if you want them to come play in your region, you have to make them a competitive offer, right?
I guess it's just like, I don't know what the end game is to moving to Europe, though. Like, is this where Chaos wants to establish their brand, like, forever?
I guess.
Is it, the
as far as I
dangerous
know.
region to attempt that? Feels
Yeah.
like. I mean, it's so packed, man.
But
like everyone's trying to do that.
If you can break through, I think the rewards are unbelievable. If you believe that you can foster a tier 1 team, if you're looking at the roots of digital chaos and you're like, hey, we got 2nd place at TI, we've got the formula, we can do it again, we just need that one run, I can see it. It adds the value at a certain point if you can make it in one of the more difficult competitive regions. But
I think
it's a tall order.
I honestly, if I could choose where they went, I'd want them to go to NA so we could actually try and keep building practice and scrims here. Because I mean, I see you guys in the chat pointing out. Obviously, you're gonna get better if you just play in Europe. That's fact of the matter. Secret will be happy to scrim these guys. They know these guys. You're gonna learn a lot getting to scrim someone like Team Secret. Team Secret are gonna look at you and be like, oh, these guys aren't a direct competition, but they're all very good players. And this is someone who we can, play against and not have to worry so much about scrim results. And then Chaos are going to look at that and be like, hell yes, we will scrim Secret for 14 hours a day. Please.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. That is one of the biggest problems with the South American region is where do you find high-quality scrim partners?
You can't even play pubs.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean, that's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, that region, it has a lot of infrastructure issues already, and you can't really scrim North American teams. You can't scrim European teams. You can pretty much only scrim people that are in the South American region, and if there's sort of a skill ceiling there, you're stuck in this feedback loop of we don't have any good practice partners, so we're not accelerating our skills as quickly as all these other regions where they just get to practice against all these tier 1 players. Even like you said, just playing pubs, being number 1 on the European ladder carries so much more weight because you're up against all of these top tier players that are just mixed into the pool.
the things that get you noticed. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, what a crazy couple of weeks for Chaos though. That was just, that kind of came out of nowhere. Honestly, I was really surprised to hear that they would be leaving
Yeah.
South America, and then of course losing Tavo and King RD too is just kind of crazy. So
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to see where Tavo winds up. I mean, I don't even know. He might have played in the. Did he play in any qualifiers?
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah, obviously we weren't able to watch it. Well, I guess we were able to theoretically, but I was watching the major. So
yeah, I was watching the major as well.
Yeah.
And of course, I do want to circle back to the major. But last podcast, I wanted to dive into more of this South American stuff, and we kind of ran out of time, so we shelved it. The other reason why I was kind of just sad, not necessarily upset with Chaos, but just sad at the circumstances that they left the region, because that region really needs trustworthy team owners and team managers in the region. After talking to a few of the players and team owners and whatnot, that seems to be the biggest bottleneck in that region, is that players don't know who to trust. There are definitely some corrupt, bad actors that have come in and said, hey, guys, we love esports. We'd love to support you, but we're not going to pay you a salary. And if you win anything, we're going to keep it, of course. But you can play under our banner. We'll give you some computers. We might give you a place to practice. And because the other esports are more profitable and popular for a lot of the other teams, the ones that do exist and have some infrastructure, all that prioritization goes to like League of Legends. You know, other games like this that are more popular in the region and more profitable based on how the leagues are structured. So all of the orgs that are reputable look at Dota as this kind of tier 2 esport in the region, not really worth investing in. And the people that are willing to kind of invest in it don't necessarily have the greatest of intentions, or they have so much money that they're kind of just gambling and having fun. They're not really in it to create a sustainable system, create a sustainable infrastructure, and really create a tier 1 esports team. And I learned that actually some of the more popular brands in South America that we've heard of, you know, like your Pain Gamings and stuff, a lot of them are just run by dudes that have a decent amount of money and are willing to just gamble it on supporting the esports scene. I've reached out a couple of them and said, well, how are you guys profitable? How do you make money? And the answer is pretty much, we don't. Why are you running this team? The last answer I got was, I don't know. That's pretty fucking scary. That, you know, that's like a CEO of an esports team being like, I don't really know why I'm doing this. It's kind of fun. It's kind of stressful. I've got some extra money. I'm in a place where I can afford to kind of give back to the community. I grew up with gaming. I see its value, but I don't really know what the long-term strategy is. It's like, when are you going to cash out? Probably never. That's a really scary state of affairs. And it's created this feedback loop where now the players don't trust orgs that are trying to start up or come into the space and support them for pretty good reason. And orgs don't really trust players because they've moved around all these teams, and there's this kind of gridlock of greed where players don't want to concede anything because they're afraid to get taken advantage of, and new players coming into the space don't want to concede anything because the metrics already don't make any sense. And we're at this impasse. And the players are just like, fuck, man, I just want to play Dota. You know, I just want to have a decent computer and internet connection so I can practice and play full-time like all these other tier 1 teams. And that alone is a bottleneck in that region. You know, just getting access to a gaming house and places to play is difficult. A lot of the gaming houses we've seen from the Dota teams do not come from the org. It's just 5 dudes that go, well, guys, we could all just pool our money and then find a place to live and jam some computers in there. Okay, that sounds better than not living together. And it's all DIY. The players are literally doing it themselves. It's crazy. Somebody needs to get in there and help it out. Give me a blank check and we can save this place.
Who wants to pay for it?
Exactly. I don't know where the returns come from. That's the problem. The only world where I can see a potential return is if you have like a Digital Chaos TI run. You know, if you place top 4 at TI, if you pull a TNC out of your basket, if you win a WESG, all of a sudden you're set up for the next few years. But those are like anomalies, you know?
Yeah.
That's not a sustainable strategy.
Your best chance, honestly.
Hey guys, this is the plan. We're going to train all year, and then we're going to win WESG, then we're going to use that money to train and win TI 11. You guys into that?
It's genius.
I mean, seriously, what the hell is that? So I don't know. I've become a little more cynical about South America. I will say I don't believe that the region is suffering because of inferior player skill. I do actually believe that given a level playing field with the same training conditions, we would see South American teams be just as competitive as we're seeing Southeast Asian teams and North American teams that have these tier 1 training conditions. I think it's easy to underestimate how much of a difference that makes when you have one team with a statistician, a chef, a support staff coach, an actual bonding
Apartment.
coach, all of these. Look at what Complexity has with Dallas now. You have a professional sports
everything.
training facility. That
Actually
matters.
Everything. Like those guys have apartments. They can get food delivered. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
So, I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. But it was alarming to me to learn how bad it is. We all kind of know it's bad, but to hear that players don't even know who to trust in terms of, organizers and team managers and stuff, that's a little ridiculous. Majestic is basically just a player-run org. They were part of, who were they before Majestic? Pacific. Yeah. And that was a classic example of the Pacific guys were like, yeah, if you want to be part of this, here's the deal. The players are like, well, this is a shit deal. And they just fucked off and started their own thing. That's it.
Well, I unfortunately don't have the money to support the South American team here, guys. I'm going to be real. You guys get me a couple TI and get me TI invite this year, and I'll pay to get my name slapped on some South American team if they'll take my money. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, it's a difficult cookie to crack, but to me, given the economies of scale, referencing that Gary B tweet earlier of how easy it would be to just reallocate 1 or 2% of that TI money and turn it into some sort of tier 3 league that ran throughout the year, $5,000 a month in guaranteed prize pools for that region would make a difference. That would allow these player-run orgs to at least survive, have something to grind throughout the year in between these qualifiers. Right now, if you don't qualify for a minor or major, there's just whole months of your schedule that are empty, where you're just sitting there like, all right, well, looking forward to the next set of open qualifiers.
Yeah, I guess so.
That kind of sucks, For us as spectators, it's been nonstop Dota. But if you're not top 2 or top 3 in your region, it's a pretty rough schedule. There's a shitload of downtime, and there's no in between.
I don't know how I feel about this idea of weekly cups and stuff, though.
I mean,
then what's the difference between this weekly cup and then Liquid just playing it like a battle cup, and then Liquid just wins your weekly cup? Do you still think that's worth it for those teams to get to play Liquid?
Probably. To me, I don't necessarily care exactly how it's calibrated. I don't know if it's weekly cups or something more like the Battle Cup or some sort of league format. It's just trickling money down to the bottom. It's this idea that if you don't qualify for something, you get 0. And I get that
I think is a better thing to target personally.
Yeah. I think it's easy to say, well, you want to incentivize people to win, and what happens to the scene if we end up just giving money out as participation trophies and that kind of stuff. But I
don't think that's a concern.
People are
still gonna try and win.
Yeah, and it has to start somewhere, right? You have to give these professional players or budding professional players some space to develop. It's not fair to say, dude, just save your money, work hard, go all in for 4 months, and see what you can do. It takes longer than that to become a truly tier 1 professional Dota player. Any esport,
My thing to do would be I would put money in. First off, let's look at back to Disneyland for a second here. If I'm not mistaken, the last place got what, 10K or something? Is that true?
I have it open. Let's take a look here. So prizing
10K.
Yeah, 10K for the bottom 4 each.
I mean, can't we do better than that? That's nothing. That's 2K per player. And then there's probably a coach, so that's probably $1,500 per player, or $1,750 or something per player, or management costs or whatever. Or Some of these teams don't have real full well, I guess for these teams they do, but I'm thinking something like Pain probably isn't. Each player is not just getting a flat 2K or something. Yeah. And in their case, obviously they got 15K, but I feel like not only should those prize pools be buffed up a little bit, I don't think we need this super lopsided first place thing. I think you should get money for winning the qualifier.
Yeah.
I think you should get money distributed to top 6 in the qualifier of each region, honestly. That's the kind of thing that I would rather see done with that money. If we're talking about using such a large sum of money, I would rather just try and push more money further down in the DPC system. Don't try and complicate things with another system that Valve has to worry about. Just do the simple thing and put the money deeper in this one.
I mean, I agree. I think you could even take that league concept and utilize that in place of the qualifiers. You can build it into the same system. You're basically just adding a tier below minors.
The only problem with that is that then it heavily interferes with third party. I don't want to add anything else to this schedule.
True. Very
if
true.
we're trying to keep the DPC. So I would rather, if I want to keep the entire scene healthy, I just push the money down. Just
Okay.
squeeze it way down there. Oh, yeah.
I
It's
mean,
nice and rubbing around in the mud down there in 6th place North American qualifiers to, send those guys 5K.
yeah,
That would be everything to them.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And I was working on the Summit 2 chapter of the book yesterday, and I went back and looked, and I realized that when we did qualifiers, so Summit 2 was the first one where we did the redemption vote. We had the compendium, and if you bought the compendium, you could vote for which would be the 6th team to join the tournament, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant sales strategy to sell the fuck out of compendiums. That tournament raised $210,000 in addition to the $100,000 we put up for the prize pool. The Summit 2 had a $310,000 prize pool. Absolutely insane.
Oh, those were the days.
Right? Absolutely insane. So we invited EG, and then we did one regional qualifier for each region. So at the time, that's Europe, China, America, Southeast Asia. And we did actually have a South American team qualify. Not today. That was Ewo, Smash, Mihawk, Fogged, Mystico. So that was sort of
right. Fogged had to play for them.
Yep. Sort of an interesting, fun, anomalous, just not what you would normally expect, a South American team coming to the American qualifiers. But when I looked, the South American qualifiers had a prize pool. I remember that we had a meeting and we said, you know what, guys? This region is struggling. 5K to them means so much more than it does to any other region. Let's put a prize pool on this so that the winner of this qualifier at least gets something for their time. That's a drop in the bucket, but it speaks to, that's just a third-party org saying, hey, someone's got to support this region. If nobody does, this region's never going to grow. BTS's early business model was all about bringing coverage from China and Southeast Asia into the West, glorifying how good the Dota is on the other side of the world that we don't have access to. Southeast Asia was South America 10 years ago. Same exact arguments. Oh, they've got no infrastructure. Oh, they don't have any good players. Oh, they don't speak the same language. There's too many cultural issues. It doesn't make sense for anyone to invest over there. And then, as we've seen, people have invested. It's helped bolster the scene, and now we have truly Tier 1 players from Southeast Asia. I don't think that's a coincidence. It was a byproduct of orgs and various other forces supporting the region. No one's doing that for South America, man. Why aren't we trickling it down?
I heavily would be into that in terms of the massive amount of TI money. That I will say. I actually forgot. I was going to bring up something else about our recent conversations from this glorious major that you guys have been privy to witnessing here. So one of the largely talked about things is slots. You guys love slots. Do you love slots, Andrew?
I love
slots right now. So I believe we've had a few arguments as of late here, guys, in terms of like the slot issues. Who gets what slots, how much, and everyone was screaming for Europe. I remember before the Dream League major, everyone was upset because Europe once again only had 2 slots, right? No, wait, did they get 3? How many slots did Europe get?
Right now, or the original? Because it changed.
For
right?
Dream League, they got 3. Yeah, Dream League got 3 slots actually. So there you go.
Yeah.
So EU has always had 3. How did everyone do at Dream League with their 3 slots? Out of curiosity here, let me look down this chart here. Dead. Is that dead last? Oh, it's dead last Liquid. Oh, there they are. They're way down there. Where's NIP? Oh, 9th, 12th. It's like everyone's taking a single tournament to like freak out about slots and everything.
Yep.
No one said shit after Dream League, and now after MDL, it's suddenly Europe needs 5 slots, which I think is pretty funny. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I agree. Liquid. I said Europe needed 4 slots, and I still stand by that. I said it before Dream League. I thought it was true. Liquid did not prove themselves there. Sure, there was a good upset and everything, but I still think 4 slots is okay, but I also think it's pretty hilarious. Everyone's freaking out after a single major, after some of the other results we've had.
Right.
Not gonna lie.
It's definitely a bit of an art. So right now for Epicenter, we've got 3 slots for Europe, 2 slots for CIS, 3 slots for China, 2 for Southeast Asia, 2 for North America, 2 for South America, and then we've had this big change now where the Star Ladder Minor is actually going to qualify 2 teams instead of just the winner. And this is the first time that this has happened in this DPC circuit. It's always been top team from minor moves on. So this is actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I'm pretty into the The 2 slots. I really, really hope there's no way they're gonna do like a bad final, right? They're gonna do an upper bracket final, and they're not gonna make the winners play again, right? Please, for the love of God.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like the consolation show match.
There's no way we're gonna see a consolation final, right? Like just the first or second.
So wait, so how does this work? Because so if you win the minor, right, you don't get DPC points. Your reward is you qualify for the major, where no matter how you place, you're guaranteed points. Correct? That's how it's worked?
It is. So if you come dead last at the major, you only get 75 points. But if you come second at the minor, you get 100, I think.
Right. But if you qualify for the major, you don't get those points from the minor. It's not like you get the minor points and then the major points. It's one or the other.
You get whichever one was higher.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So you get whatever's higher, one or the other. So for this one, that's even more interesting because it's supposed to be 120 DPC for first, 100 for second. So in theory, if you get dead last in that last bracket at epicenter, then I guess those DPC points do reign king. Okay.
Yeah.
It's also going to be a difference in money. I think they're going to do a proper finals, dude. They're going to do a best of 5. It's a 300K prize pool. First place versus second place. It's going to be a big split. It'll be like 100, whatever the last minor was.
Oh, that's so lame, though. No one's going to watch a minor final for nothing but money.
Well,
no one cares.
I'll bet you $100 they're going to do it, bud.
I'll take that.
You really think they'll not do a finals?
No, I really don't. I think, please, for the love of God, please just do an upper bracket final, and that team qualifies to the major. They get first place, and make the lower bracket people play for second place and second place prize pool.
Dude, it is Star Ladder. They are 100% going to milk all the free content they can get out of that. It's a best of 5, dude. That's like your whole grand finals day.
You make the lower bracket final a best of 5.
Well, now that's a solution. Will they do that? I don't think so at all, but
please, for the love of God. Ugh.
So the prize pool
start
difference.
Tweeting at them now?
So what do you do with the prize pool though? The prize pool difference.
You get first place, the guy who came first. I mean, sure, maybe you could tier it a little bit different and make first, second, and third a little bit closer.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I guess you could have the team that qualifies for the upper bracket technically gets first, and the team that goes to the lower bracket technically gets second. So there is a workaround, but I just don't see, like, minors are already scraping for margins. I don't know why they would want one less series, let alone, like, in theory, what should be the most hype matchup of the 2 best teams. But your argument is well formed that what makes that series so hype is that there's so much on the line, i.e. winner goes to the major, loser just gets a little bit of cash.
So ESL doesn't need to do grand final just because of money. Are you guys stupid? Are you guys actually morons? That's such a stupid argument. You're making me mad right now, guys. I don't get mad easy. Do you not understand that when you win ESL, you won the tournament? Not get it? What comes after ESL Mumbai? Nothing. Guess what a minor is? It's just a qualifier. It's not a tournament anyone cares about.
Yeah, it's true.
Who came third at the minor right now? Off your head. Guys, out there. Who did it?
I was there, and I don't even know. I know Majestic got 4th.
You don't give a shit. No one cares.
Was it Alliance? Alliance got 3rd.
They lost to eHome.
Yeah, there you go.
But still, it's like, come on, guys. Please. Money is money, sure, but no one cares for, like, winning Mumbai is completely different.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I would agree.
Come on,
with you.
guys.
It's not a great analogy. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting end to the circuit. So, do you like this 2 teams qualifying for the major thing? Like, to me, it's a weird curveball for the last event of the year. Like, we've already got Epicenter weighted heavier than every single other tournament or every other major because it's the last one and it's the difference maker for a lot of these teams. Do we need a curveball like this? Is this a good thing, a bad thing, or just neutral?
Oh, it gives more points? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's weird. It's just why are we changing this rigid format we had of, okay, winner of the minor goes to the major.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It weights this last major even more now where it's like, all right, guys, we were fucking around in the last minors, but this one, all we have to do is get top 2. We're going to the major. Like, is I don't quite get it. Why are we doing this now?
It's because Valve are open to change, surprisingly, because everyone's been complaining that NA has too many slots, and the NA need to lose their slot. And so the question is, what do we do with the slot? And it's too tough to choose between Europe and China, because as much as everyone's screaming about Europe needing 4 slots, I think China one single run from Keen, and you have the exact same argument happening in China too. Like the regions
Right.
are way too close to count. So I think rather than worrying about that, you just make it the minor.
Okay. All right. I guess I don't hate it in terms of like a solution to that conundrum of how do you choose which is the best region. This is a really fair way to keep the numbers even and not give one region 4 slots. So I guess if that is your goal, is just to try to keep it even, I like that solution. Just let merit speak. Second best team at the minor. I don't care what region you're from. Get in there.
Yeah. It's good. I think it's nice that, of course, it's always risky to change things in the middle of it, but I think it makes a lot of sense here.
Okay. Interesting. Lot to digest, man. Whew.
It's interesting.
Let's circle back to MDL a little bit. Viewership, very impressive for this major. Grand finals on the English stream, sitting at what, 160, 170K concurrence?
I saw 175 at one point. I noticed it was above Overwatch League, which I was like, wow, impressive. Yeah.
It's not on TV,
boys.
but
got him.
Very good. And I saw, maybe it was Archie in chat at the beginning of this, but sort of pointing out this discrepancy that we have now where, okay, so Tier 1 Dota is still alive and good. Everybody still wants to watch this mixture of whatever your top 6 like Tier 1 teams in the world square off. The finals between Secret and Liquid was super hype. I watched the entire thing. I was pretty much on the edge of my seat for most of it. We're seeing these Tier 1 teams like mix in these really cool heroes. We're seeing like more Meepo picks, more Arc Warden picks. I think the strategies are getting a little bit more diverse, like Secret opening with Pudge, all sorts of different heroes. Like the game itself is still in an okay spot. Right, we're not seeing the same static picks. Drow Ranger was starting to fall out of favor towards the end of the tournament. The meta is still evolving. So Dota itself has this foundation that is still really healthy. The numbers for TI this year are still going to be awesome. The epicenter numbers will probably be awesome. But what does this mean when you're looking at minors where that grower or viewership is stagnant? I don't think, I mean, I haven't looked at the graph of like looking at the minors average viewership, but it's felt pretty stagnant at low numbers. I mean, we're talking like elimination mode online 20K prize pool numbers, you know?
Yeah.
That ain't great for a $300,000 tournament that has all this stuff on the line that's supposed to be the solution to our Tier 2 woes. The minor doesn't really even serve Tier 2 teams anymore.
I mean, it's kind of beautiful in that way because it's the thing that people don't realize they're asking for. Like, all of these arguments and all these people talking about, like, weekly cups and stuff like that. Like, this is what a weekly cup's going to look like, and this is what your viewership's going to look like. I mean, like, let me be fair. I think weekly cups are a nice idea, and I wish they did exist with the smaller prize pools. The thing that people talk about is this idea of just, like, well, we need to promote the Tier 2 scene, and, you know, we have this massive land for it in the minor and everything, but you see why the economy doesn't really make sense for it, because it's just like you're basically having to like socialize this shit and like literally take money from the major teams who are the ones that actually draw the viewership and give it to the minor and be like, look, grow your scene, which in the end does benefit the major teams, I'm sure, because you're growing a larger player pool, better competition, blah, 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 blah. But it is very clear who is bringing in the dollars in this scene.
Well, I mean, it's a more complicated system than that, though, because I think they serve different purposes. You know, like the major is a little bit more for the audience than it is for the teams, right? And I think TI is kind of similar. TI is this flagship that's meant to be like the Super Bowl of Dota that makes everybody turn their head. All those casual esports fans that don't really care about Dota tune into TI because it's a global blockbuster event. That has a very specific purpose. I think if you're talking about, you know, adding money to qualifiers or these little leagues or whatever it is, that money is not going in because of the viewership that those games are going to get. Frankly, I don't really give a shit how many people watch those games. That money is just going to support the teams. You know, that's the goal of it. So, sure, you want people to watch it, but at the same time, I think that's a shitty metric of gauging the value of those dollars because they're creating the foundation that allows that Tier 1 scene to continue to thrive in the long run.
No, I agree, but I think that a lot of the commentators that you see and like whenever I read, you know, Reddit and stuff, people talking about it, they just act like somehow this scene is going to fund itself, and that these
definitely not.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, I don't understand why it doesn't just happen. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a socialist model. It's that irony or not irony. It's that oxymoronic nature of that like invisible hand horse shit, and how, oh well, the system is always going to just react to these forces, and that is going to fill the gap and yield the best outcome. And it's like, not really. The system's just going to do whatever makes the most money in the short term more often than not. It's not always going to do what is in its best interest in terms of long-term longevity, for lack of a better word. You know, it's a little bit more one-dimensional than that when you're just trusting the market forces to figure itself out. You know, there's a degree of reallocating a little bit of money from the top towards the bottom makes a substantial difference to the people on the bottom relative to how much it hurts the people on the top, right? I think that's the fundamental argument.
Sorry, I forgot socialist is a real buzzword for...
Yeah, dude, you can't say socialist.
Not Canadians. Sorry.
30% of our audience is USA, and they do not like that word. You fucking Bernie supporter. What are you doing?
Sorry, I didn't mean to... I forgot it's so charged over there. Sure, socialist, just like reinvesting profit in eternal development is socialist. I see how you can get that. My bad.
And, I mean, we're also not just making this up.
I live in the socialist life, guys.
Well,
I'm very happy to pay my health care to everyone else.
It exists in a lot of other esports, right? Very few other esports are as top-heavy as Dota is in terms of percentage of overall prize dollars locked in one tournament that happens once a year. And within that tournament, 70% of the prize money goes to the top 3 teams. Like, we are by far the most top-heavy esport in existence right now. I can't think of another comparable. You know, and a lot of other scenes have a lot of money flowing through them. It's just broken down in a way that doesn't all float to the top.
It's like, like Overwatch has contenders, right? We're just basically there. I don't know how they transition from minor to the other thing, but they have their own little thing going in terms of having some levels there. So
yeah,
next year, right? Well, I'll make the effort, guys.
Next year. I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the scary part.
I can believe it.
We've already gotten the announcement for next year, and to my knowledge, the only changes are Valve is going to set the format for every tournament so we don't have a repeat of what happened at Dota Pit with best-of-1 deciders and 4 rounds of best-of-1 lower bracket. That's so far the only change that's going to be made to the DPC system.
Well, maybe format also means like prize distribution. Like prizing. That kind of sounds like when they say format, I assume they're taking care of that too, right?
Great question. I actually don't know.
They definitely will.
Yeah, the mystery of Valve. Defining terms. What does format actually mean? Are we literally just talking about brackets and group stages, or are we talking a little bit more? I have no idea. I actually don't remember for Captain's Draft if we were allowed to choose the distribution or if it was set, but I believe we were allowed to choose.
I think we chose. I think I remember having a conversation with Sunsfan about it.
And I think we basically followed the same general template that they did for we did for Captain's Draft 3 and just kind of based it on, okay, what are the other tournaments doing? Okay, these percentages are roughly equivalent. Cool. You know, we didn't really do anything too creative with it. But yeah, 2 circuits ago, we had that creative freedom, I suppose. Good point, bud.
I hope the DPC stays. I like the DPC.
Overall, yes. I think it's better than what we were doing before.
It's growing. Yeah, seriously. Like, well, that's when you're talking about like epicenter being worth more. That just harkened me back to even last year, because last year they had the last super major of the year, right? Yeah, it was worth more points. Right?
It was literally worth more, both in prize dollars and DPC points. So yeah, you're right.
And then they didn't do that this year, right? Unless I'm wrong, because I see epicenter is just listed as the normal amount.
Yes, same prize pool. So that was the thing. If you remember the original circuit, they allowed it to be flexible based on the amount of money that you put down. So we could have said, hey, Captain's Draft is going to be a $500,000 minor instead of $300,000, and then it would have had more points attached to it. But it seemed that most tournament organizers did not realize much additional value by putting a couple extra $100,000 down for the prize pool. So everyone's pretty much just done the minor. But yeah, the minimum requirement, rather. I shouldn't say minor in that context. But the super major actually did have a larger prize pool than everything else on the circuit.
Dude, it was super duper.
It really was. It truly was a super major.
It was the practice TI.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
Yeah. Yeah, the proof of concept.
Yeah, it was the let's see what China TI is like, and seemed okay. So
yeah,
let's do it next year.
I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but my brain, despite all these conversations, it just keeps going back to the money is there. We clearly have an audience that is willing to open their wallets to support the Dota 2 scene to keep this thing going.
It's the opposite of every other problem in esports.
Yeah. The money's there. It's just flowing to the top so hard. It's like, 'cause remember, 75% of that TI money goes right to Valve. That big number we're looking at, it's only 25%. The fucking money is there.
Yeah.
We just got to do something with it. Unfortunately, none of us have any control over it. And my biggest fear is that the economists at Valve that are brilliant at making money are sitting here thinking, fuck the longevity of this game. Let's make as much money as we can as quickly as possible, and then we'll see what happens, man. And if this one doesn't work out, we'll just make another game, man. I'm scared of that dialogue. They didn't even
make this game, dude. I don't think that if anything, Artifact definitely helped Dota.
That's true.
They just tried to make a game and went, oh, this is harder than it used to be.
That's true. No, I don't know, but I'm just worried about that. There's so many things that have been pointed out, suggestions, individuals behind the scenes that I've talked to that have emailed Valve ideas and said, dude, take this idea. I don't even want credit for it. Just implement something. I mean, I tweeted that thread from the Beat Esports guys, our buddies at Canada Cup. That was exactly 2 years ago. That was May 2017 when when one of the best community organizers, your $10,000 cups, your $20,000 cups, is saying this scene is fucking dead. We cannot sell sponsors on this shit. We're moving on to other games because I don't know what the future of Dota is, and I can't convince sponsors to sponsor this shit. They only want to sponsor the big tier 1 events, and this is going to create a big problem for the ecosystem down the road. Here we are 2 years later just bashing our heads against the wall saying the exact same shit.
Yeah, but Secret's so good at Dota, so who cares?
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. We're all distracted by how good the tier 1 teams are, but it's like America, man. It's getting more top heavy, and eventually this tower is going to fall over. You got to build the foundation. I studied pyramids in college. They're wider at the base for a reason, bud.
Yeah. Thank you for that expert analysis.
Yeah. Can we talk about Secret real quick, though? Because I felt like conflicted. I felt like almost a front runner saying, I think Secret's going to win this tournament. It's like a lame prediction, but I genuinely believed it. And when I watched them play, it does sort of feel like they're a level ahead of a lot of other teams. And I was looking at the roster. I'm like, no wonder I love this team so much. I love all of the players individually. I think Puppy is probably the best contender for a greatest of all time if you were just to consider overall career achievements. I think he is a brilliant drafter that has broken so many different strategies over the ages. Yapzor is maybe one of the best fours in the world right now, one of the most entertaining to watch. Incredible positioning. He's always making big plays. This is a team you're first banning Rubik against because if you give him this hero, he's just fucking unstoppable. You got Zai on the 3, who I've been following since the Heroes of New Earth days. Again, one of the most entertaining 3s to watch. Super diverse hero pool. Crazy plays. Sand King, he's fucking all over the place. Mid 1, my Malaysian boy, right? The pride of Malaysia playing in the mid lane. One of the only players that knows Ember Spirit actually to the peak of that shit's fucking skill cap. They will pick Ember Spirit no matter the circumstance. He's going side lane. He's going mid. He's going physical. He's going split push. He's going magical. This man knows Ember Spirit better than, dare I say, any player knows any other hero. Boom. Big fan there. And then you've got Nisha, who I haven't crunched the numbers, but I think he is close, if not has already dethroned Sumail in terms of career acceleration, right? Like Sumail joins EG, first tournament is DAC China, they win. On foreign soil, underdogs, underproven, had that insane game where he got ganked like 6 times in the first 10 minutes and still came back and fucked on him. That was what set Sumail up to be one of the greatest, youngest all-stars of all time, right? Look at Nisha's history. He was on these shitty tier 2, tier 3 teams, hasn't won jack shit, joined Secret, first tournament. Like, I think in the first 4 months that he was on the team, he won $250,000. Right?
Yeah, it was Hamburg when they won 3-2.
Well, they
won that PvP thing first.
Yeah, they won the PvP thing. Let's see. So he joined the team September 11th, 2018. October 7th, they win PvP Esports, 80K. October 28th, they win ESL 1 Hamburg 2018, 125K. November 18th, they get second at the KL Major, 170K. Then after that, January 2019, towards the end of the month, Chongqing Major, they take first, get 350K. Then a month later, they win ESL One Katowice 2019, get 125K, get fourth at Dream League Season 11, and then they just won the Paris Disneyland Major for another 350K. Nisha has had one hell of a run after joining this team. I don't know how you can't cheer for this guy. That shit's unbelievable.
It is pretty incredible. There's no doubt. I mean, this guy was one of those Polish stacks. I mean, and when you look at his history too, and you're seeing like he was playing on Let's Do It and ATX back and forth since 2015, and then you realize that well, this guy's only like 19 years old right now. He's not even 19. He's actually still 18.
Yeah, he was born in the year 2000, dude.
Yeah, so this guy was playing on these teams when he was 15 years old. That doesn't even count. Like all of these earlier things, this guy was 17 playing in like summits and stuff like that. That's actually kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bold claim, right? I think Sumail is one of the most impressive players.
He has to
of
win
all
TI,
time.
honestly, because Sumail won TI that year. That's what kind of cements it. You know?
If Secret wins Epicenter, then wins TI this year, I think Nisha is a contender for that kind of title.
Even if he just wins TI, I think he just takes it straight up.
I mean, I think you're right.
This has been like that dominant of a year for sure.
It's insane. And what blow? I mean,
it's true. Sumail was like 15 though. He was really young.
It's true. Yeah, you're right. It's hard to top, but
Sumail also got put onto they both got put onto that early team. Like, it's like Nisha didn't get a chance at 15 to be on a good team. You know what I mean? Or 16. Obviously, Sumail's still incredible, and we're not truly comparing the two of them like this, but. It's
in my mind, I've always thought of Sumail. I don't know. I always say career acceleration because I don't know what the word is for it. But in terms of like no reputation, gets on a tier 1 team, comes out of the gate swinging, and just goes from like, who is this guy to, oh my God, this guy's tier 1, might be one of the best mids in the world. That's a crazy kind of gap where most players have a pretty long history leading up to that point of tier 1.
Sumail's was so weird, man. Like, I remember seeing all those pictures of like some of the other top players of the time. God, that was so long ago. Just like, I remember like Super and like some of the other guys just like standing behind Sumail's computer watching him play pubs at DAC. That's a really weird, that's like some LAN cafe shit where these guys are just watching this guy like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
Like that was truly quite magical. It was a long ago time, but
yeah, it's
very
true.
impressive.
I mean, I was at that DAC in China. I witnessed the turning of the crowd. You know, the booing of EG because they were cheering so hard for the Chinese teams and just slowly winning over the audience. And by the end of it, Sumail was the hero of the tournament. The whole crowd was erupting anytime Sumail would get a kill. I mean, I remember Charlie translating the commentators saying like all these negative things about him at the beginning of the tournament, about how young he was and like what kind of parents must you have if they're letting you play Dota full time instead of focus on school and all this stuff. And by the end of it, that dialogue was gone. The dialogue was, this is God's gift to Dota 2. Let's all just appreciate the miracle that we're witnessing right now. You know, that's an incredible thing to do on Chinese turf when there were multiple Chinese stacks at that tournament that were very, very heavy fan favorites. I've never experienced anything else like that at an esports event. But yeah, eyes on Nisha. I'm also just curious about their team dynamic, dude. He doesn't say a goddamn word. The kid doesn't speak. I don't even know if he speaks English.
Ghost. That's like such a hilarious nickname.
The what?
They call him the Ghost. That's what Puppy said at their KL interview. Yeah, we call him the Ghost because he never talks and he's just never there.
But that's, I mean, you can see it when they play, and I think that's a testament to like, if you are actually that good, it doesn't really matter if you can communicate that well. You don't need to communicate because you're just doing all the right shit. Puppy doesn't need to tell him what to do because he's already thinking it. He's already fucking doing it. He's one of these crazy mechanical carries that doesn't have a bad game. Show me a game where Nisha clearly fucked up and you're like, oh, what are you doing, dude? What an awful farm pattern. Even when Secret lose, Nisha is finding farm. He's making rotations. His ability to farm and join fights is fucking incredible. Unbelievable game sense. He's one of the most consistent ones right now.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it also comes down to one of those things of just like, you know, who else could look incredible with these 4 players right now?
True.
Not to say Nisha's not amazing.
No, you're not
Obviously
wrong.
He is, but it's just like, you know, I would say position 1, they always say the 1 position is the best position to have as a stand-in because you kind of know what you have to do. Maybe that's not as true as it used to be, but especially right now, actually in this meta, it feels like a lot of the position 1 player is just like, all right, guys, you guys got this. You guys good? I'm gonna keep hitting some creeps. Tell them I'm gonna show up.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I think some of it is in the versatility. Like, Secret has got to be one of the most difficult teams to draft against right now. Not just because you're up against Puppey as a mastermind, because you don't know what the fuck they're going to do. Nisha plays mid fairly regularly. You know? Yeah. Mid 1 is not... They don't have this hard 1-2 thing. If they pick Arc Warden, both mid 1 and Nisha can play it. You know, mid 1 played his first Meepo game in this tournament. You know?
That was pretty gross. My God. That game was brutal.
Yeah. You pull out some Lone Druid action, you know, Morphling. You got these heroes that are pretty versatile. You can't just bank on, it's going to be Nisha safe lane with Sven. Easy peasy. They'll
Honestly,
do that if it looks good, but they'll also throw a mid and give a mid one the safe lane farm.
My favorite thing to watch about Secret actually is just, I would say it's Zai and Yapzor. I think that's really the big key for them. It kind of reminds me of the same thing with like DY and Fade, sort of, where like you're talking about like how 2 supports play together. Zai and Yapzor kind of do the same thing, even though obviously one's supposed to be a core. But what's really interesting is like this whole way that they divvy up that farm distribution. Like even Puppey isn't really a position 6. He's closer to most position 5s, and like they just do such a good job of spreading the wealth evenly the whole way across the team. Like, yes, some games Puppey does end up with just like, you know, a magic wand or something on a silencer. But, you know, there's other games where he has like a buckler or he'll get 1 item or something. But more importantly, I think it's Zai and Yapzor that is like the true difference maker for this team, where you're looking at how the 2 of them are able to like oscillate back and forth in terms of like, okay, I need this item. Can you do this shit right now? All right, I need this item. Can you go like run around the map right now? Yeah. And then they just always link up at those perfect moments. So I think if you guys were interested in like playing 3 or 4 and stuff, just like watching those replays would be really cool.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think they're a perfect example of a team that basically plays 2 3.5s instead of a hard 3 and a hard 4. And that is, I mean, Yapzor kind of has that reputation for being a greedier 4 that will take kills, definitely soak up some farm, but they're great at doing that efficiently, where it's like, okay, we know what the game plan is. We're going to take 5 minutes. Yappy, take the off lane, find this space. But you can see the difference. It's all towards a goal. He's not just getting farm for the sake of getting farm. It's like, okay, I'm playing Zeus. Once I get the Nimbus, this game changes. Now we can set up ganks. Now I can kind of reinvest the farm that I've gotten by setting up these kills to give it to our carry or to follow around Zai, whatever it is. You know, you just don't see a lot of other teams doing that. Not the same way they do, at least. I don't know.
Of course,
I'm a
no
Secret
matter what
fanboy.
happens, though,
Hmm?
doesn't matter, right? All that matters is TI.
It's true.
Sad. It's depressing, Dota, in that way, isn't it? It's also glorious because winning TI is obviously that amazing, but the way we're talking right now, if they don't win TI, no one's going to care in a year.
Yep. You're right. You're right.
I mean, to be fair, that's every sport, though. That's not unique to Dota. Doesn't matter. You guys, you know, all my hockey fans out there, the Tampa Bay Lightning, one of the most dominant seasons of all time, out in the first round, got 4-0 swept by the lowest seed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know? So
You're
now
right.
it doesn't matter.
You're right.
Their season is just garbage. No one cares.
Yeah. But to round out that conversation, I am a full-on Secret fanboy. They are my favorite team to watch right now, hands down. I love the players. I love the management. Like the people. Like the play style. They're just fucking good.
Yep.
Fucking good.
Yeah, I'm so happy for Matt, dude. Honestly, Cyborg Matt is like one of the most legit guys in the whole scene.
Yeah.
That guy just wants Dota to be good. he just wants to save Dota.
Matt is the definition of a good actor, the very antithesis of a bad actor in this space. He is willing to help out anyone with pretty much any request within reason, share information to people he trusts. He is the guy. He is the guy that's on the in and has a great filter of who to share what with whom and what to do to help people out that are struggling, get people in contact with the influencers in power. He has done so much more thankless work to help keep Dota afloat than anyone will ever realize. He's the real GOAT, I think, when you're talking about outside of the player sphere. I think Cyborg Matt's got my vote.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Can't think of anyone else outside the player sphere that's... Yeah, I actually can't think of anyone else that's even really... No one's even really close, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, Matt's kind of a god. Like, the guy is just so legit.
Because he's a developer too. You know, he speaks the language. So he's got the with, you know, like server stuff, technical difficulties. It's not just dealing in information. It's also a degree of technical prowess. I mean, he was the guy that created the Summit 2 compendium we talked about earlier that made the redemption vote
made
possible.
All the compendiums.
He was the guy.
Yeah,
you know?
He was like the compendium guy.
I was just writing that chapter yesterday. You know, like when all those tech issues went arise, when the cyber-powered PCs started catching on fire, who do you think was the #1 volunteer helping us out with that shit? It was Cyborg Matt. He hung up the team management hat and said, yeah, Secret's all right for now. I'm going to help you guys with the tech issues. I've never seen another manager do that. Just say, most managers say, oh, that fucking sucks. We're going to McDonald's. Let us know when the internet's back. You know? Matt did the opposite. He rolled up his sleeves and said, well, let's fucking get in there and figure this shit out. There's a solution to every problem, man. We just got to find it. And that's just the kind of shit that is invaluable in those sort of situations. Yeah. But enough about the cyborg.
All right. Is it time?
I think it's time.
Can we rip this Band-Aid right now, guys?
All right, boys and girls. So if you are not a Game of Thrones fan or you are not caught up, I highly recommend turning off this podcast. We're going to spend the last 10 to 15 minutes talking about Game of Thrones. The last episode, we are one away from the finale, so we are going to go full in. We're going to talk spoilers. We're going to talk fan theories. And we're going to talk about how we think this whole bitch might be wrapped up.
All right, get out of here, Gary B.
Yeah, see you later, GB. This is a good one. So
goodbye, everyone.
Yep, Heart Quasi, no hard feelings.
You know what? I will change the stream title. That's a good idea. Just because.
Good call. I like it. That's pretty good. So, God, where to even start with this? I think just to set the ground rules here. Both of us are a bit dissatisfied with the current season of Game of Thrones. I think it really is one of the greatest shows ever created. I think the first 4 seasons were absolutely incredible in the cinematography, the storytelling, the writing, the character development, the level of unpredictability with characters dying suddenly, both characters you cared about a lot, characters you hated a lot. Very, very just unique way of telling a very complicated story. It reminds me of Dota a little bit. I had to watch the first season twice before I really was like, this show's awesome. Because I didn't get it. I didn't know who was who. I didn't understand what the fuck they were saying. I couldn't tell the characters apart. It takes a learning curve to dive into it. And once you dive in, you realize how incredible the early shit is. Okay? Now, the show has been getting progressively worse. I think once you get to like season 5, season 6, that's where every season has gotten less about the original pieces of the show that made it incredible and more about fan service. Better costuming, more blood, less storytelling and dialogue, more dragons blowing shit up. Season 7, the one before the current season we're on now, was for me the edge of that threshold where I cared about what was happening so much that the sort of lack of storytelling and the increased timeline. You know, like the Hound and Arya spent an entire season just walking to one castle. And now we're at the point where
that was peak Game of Thrones.
Now we're just like, okay, yep, they're here. Oh, Jon's back. You know, people are basically just teleporting around. This concept of time has just completely gotten lost. And that, I think, has really done the show a disservice. Now we are here in the final season. Apparently HBO said, guys, we can do 10 episodes. It's not a big deal. We're down for 10. And the writers, our good friends D&D, were like, we can do it in 6. We got Star Wars to focus on. We don't need to do it in 10. Let's not drag this shit on. We're good.
They have 3 other shows, apparently.
Yeah, they got a full workload.
They have spin-offs coming off of Game of Thrones as well.
Yeah, and apparently the writer, George R.R. Martin, GRRM, he's given them the notes, the outline. He's told them how he wants it to end, but he is not actively writing it. And apparently the writers have a lot of final say about decisions with killing characters and how they want to go about it, and what's going on there. So that's a good, safe ground foundation for where we're at.
That's pretty good. Let's shall we begin with season 8 itself?
Yes.
I feel like that's where, because we all had a massive break. What was the break between? Was it actually 2 years?
Something like that.
It felt like 2 years. My God, it felt like
a year and a half.
Yeah. We waited a really long time for season 8. So most of our grief is going to be about season 8.
Yeah.
Because season 7 was so long ago and everything like that. So season 8. How did we begin season 8? There was the first episode was a mirroring of the first episode of when the Lannisters came to Winterfell, right? It was this whole idea of the powerful people came to Winterfell and how they were greeted and how they were reacted to by the general population. And they tried to take Daenerys and do the same thing. So you saw a lot of the same shots and this idea of like the Northerners like looking in awe, much like they did of just like, Lannisters and their army and stuff. And I was like, oh, hey, this kind of feels like Game of Thrones. It was okay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, it was a little boring in some sense. And unfortunately, things are progressing way too quickly, even in the first and second episode, I would argue. That's kind of I think we can use that complaint for the entirety of this season, honestly.
Yes. And I think like the opener, everyone was okay with the first episode being slow because the last season was so crazy. We needed to kind of wind down a little bit, rebound, recollect, to get a feeling for where all of our characters are, what's everybody doing. And there is a lot of character development. You have a lot of like first-time interactions or characters that got separated at like season 1 or season 2 that are just coming back into the fold for the first time. So you expect a degree of character development. You're expecting a lot of dialogue to hash through that shit, right?
Yeah.
It's after that I think things got bad. For me, the beginning of the end was the way the Night King died. I mean,
whoa. What about episode 2 where
what about
the
it?
whole thing is like we're all gonna die? First off, where it's like people are singing by the fire and people are, isn't that where Bran got knighted? Was in the second episode?
I mean, episode 2 was basically a throwaway. I'm having trouble remembering anything super significant that came out of it. Brienne got knighted. Yeah, that's a big one. Didn't really matter that much, but that's cute. I guess it started this redemption arc for Jaime, right? Starts planting those seeds. We're all like, okay, he's finally on the right side. He wants to fight alongside Brienne. You can feel this kind of sexual tension finally hitting peak Jaime-ness.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like episode 2 was, as people say the term fan service, I think that definitely applies. Oh, yeah. God, Arya Gendry, that was episode 2 as well. Fuck me, I forgot about
the
that.
Arya Gendry.
I want to know what it feels like.
I mean, honestly,
that was so out of Arya's character. Am I crazy? That did not feel like Arya to me.
I was torn with it because part of me felt like, okay, this is at least getting back into like the human condition aspect, because that is a lot of what I liked about Game of Thrones was there was a lot of stupid, unnecessary sex and violence, but at the same time, it was about this. It's like a fantasy world where you're dealing with the human element and those temptations and how humans kind of fuck each other over for greed and all this kind of stuff. At first, it felt like, okay, she's a real person, and then it was just
so much funner with Chad.
executed in this fucking unbelievable, like, oh, Gendry, you seem like a nice blacksmith. You want to just have a go? And then what was even worse is the beginning of the next episode when he tries to reciprocate it. Arya, I just got a castle. Do you want to be my queen? I love you. Congratulations, Gendry, but no. If you had taken more than 5 seconds to look at me and understand who I am, you'd know that I'd never want to fucking do that. I agree it was super in character for Arya, but to me, it ruined Gendry. Gendry was a character I really liked.
No. That was good Gendry. Because that is Gendry. He feels like he's actually noble and shit. I thought that was very fitting for Gendry. I actually kind of died.
Oh, I just hate that all the characters have gotten more stupid. It's like, oh, dude, now that we won the battle, I could stop thinking about anything. Arya, you want to just go fuck for the rest of our lives? It's like, fuck you, mate. Fuck no. I only did that because I thought we were going to die, you fucking moron.
This comment, do we all forget that she fucking baked a dude into a cake and fed him to his That's actually, God, Game of Thrones is on for so long, guys. I totally forgot about that. Arya was pretty fucked up, guys.
Yeah, dude. She went in. What else happened in episode 2? I actually can't remember anything else.
John and Danny.
Okay.
That whole story. Sam.
The reveal.
How was the Sam? Sam was okay. Sam telling John, that was all right.
Yeah, no beef with that. I think that was inevitable.
Yeah, that was done kind of fine. It's like, oh, we're still bros. Cool. That's your aunt, SARS.
So episode 3 was the battle episode, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move. Episode 3 was, to me, the worst of the season so far, I think, especially when it came out after watching that. While watching it, I remember I was in the airport. I was kind of like, oh, this is so exciting. And then by the end of it, I couldn't have been more mad. I don't know why they're refusing to kill characters. This whole show was predicated on killing characters that you love and hitting you in the emotional feels, and they just keep letting them walk away. I can't stand these fucking fake death cutscenes of like, oh, Tyrion's gonna get hit with the mast. Oh, is he dead? Nope. Oh, okay, good. He's fine. Oh, Jaime's gonna sink to the bottom of this. Is he gonna die? No, Bronn's just gonna pull him up. No big deal. It's, to me, the equivalent of a jump scare in a horror movie. It's lowbrow, shitty storytelling. Like, oh, is he gonna die? Nope. We're all good. Okay. Phew. That was the battle for me.
I don't mind those so much if there just were less of them. I don't mind one every once in a while.
Okay.
I'm still going to hate it, but I get it. But I hate that we're sacrificing dialogue for a lot of these. Yes. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, I feel like Game of Thrones used to be, as you said, Arya and the Hound, just walking. Can I get a bit more of that? Can I get a bit more development instead of just like the same shot of Sam Tully Tarly underneath like 8 walkers with his little face like, ah! And then the next scene he's under 8 more walkers going, ah! And then suddenly he's just alive at the end.
The amount of just staring. Well, even with Jon Snow, he's like looking at the Night King. He's like, all right, we're going to have a stare down. You're mine, bitch. And he starts coming at him. These undead dudes start summoning. It's Jon versus this entire army of Scourge. He's cool. It's no big deal. He's got a black eye. No big. You know, the Night King is this epic badass boss that we've like been building up for 7 seasons, and then he's just walking up to Bran, staring at him like, all right, buddy, are you ready to die? Okay.
That was the most disappointing thing I've ever seen.
And then that's it. And then he dies one shot, and I get it. You know, Arya uses the special blade in the exact spot that he was created. It's like his Achilles heel. But, I mean, come on, man. There wasn't even any dialogue. There wasn't any, like, they teased that little picture of, like, who the Night King was when the little Dark Willow people created him. I thought we were going to get a little more backstory. I thought it'd be more intricate of, like, you know, Bran and him are somehow connected. We get some more of this crazy meta, like, Hodor shit where Bran's in memories and he's, like, fucking with the Night King. And we didn't get any backstory. We didn't get any closure.
Right, and here's what someone's saying. Bambanoon in chat. Actually, a guy brought an argument to me. It's the final season. The ending is supposed to end arcs, not develop, end what's been developed. And that's... I see what you're saying, and I do agree that that's true. However, what I'm upset with is that they're just... It's like they're just ending. They're not just like, here's why this happened to end. It's just like... It's like the Night King is by far the best example, I would say, where he just walks in and just dies, and you're like... What have I been waiting 7 seasons for?
Just like you just
I feel
built
like
up.
I just got teased and blue balled so hard by this guy.
You built up like a Darth Vader level bad guy, and then you never took off his helmet before he died. You know, imagine if Luke just killed Darth Vader without the helmet coming off. You kind of have that feeling of like,
that's pretty much it.
Well, how badass was he to begin with? You know, and you're just like, well, that was underwhelming. But instead, you get that closure. You get that dialogue of Luke and their father, and Luke's trying to kind of redeem him, and there's like a mini redemption arc, but he still dies. Perfect example of wrapping it up at the end of a movie, but still giving you that closure of why that character matters. It hits you in the feels and makes you realize that Darth Vader's more complicated than beneath the eye. Unlike Euron Greyjoy, who is by far the worst bad guy ever created. He's just evil. He doesn't have any purpose. He just likes to rape, pillage, and plunder and power. He's just... if we wrote a fucking fantasy story, that would be our bad guy. I'm Euron. I'm real angry. I'm a pirate sometimes. Like he is by far the most one-dimensional bad guy I've like in the story even. He's the worst character in Game of Thrones.
I don't even know. I don't know what Euron was supposed to be. I hear he's actually pretty awesome in the books.
That's what Mott said.
Yeah, apparently he's like super badass, and I guess the actor was really disappointed. Where I guess he's like a big fan of the books too. So I'm definitely gonna go read the books. I'm not gonna lie. Game of Thrones, like if anything, this season has been so disappointing that I'm committed to reading the books at this point. Like, they are going to be my plain thing, you know?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Everyone has told me that that's the way to go, and I'm not a big reader, but...
I hear there's, like, an excessive amount of rape in the books, though, which I have to admit kind of turns me off a little. Not going to lie. I hear George R.R. Martin's a little fucked in the head. Yeah. I can't say I need gratuitous violence and suffering to that extent. I hear it's like pretty bad.
It goes both ways for me, because I agree. I find it to be overbearing, and I don't don't like that being a plot device that pushes characters forward. I think it's a little bit lazy, and there's less extreme things you can do to make characters equally complicated and deep. But at the same time, if you think about the context of like, no technology, it's sort of like medieval humans. I bet that shit happened way more than we'd like to admit in medieval times.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Doubt.
So there's a degree of like, I hate to say historically accurate for a fictional series. It reminds me of Django a little bit. Did they need to use the N-word so much? No. Is it sort of historically accurate? Probably. How do I feel about it? I'm not sure. I guess I'd rather it was toned down a little bit, but at the same time,
guys, I know rape existed. Just so you know, I don't know if you guys know about it's not medieval society. You ever heard of the rape of Nanking? You ever heard of war ever?
Yeah.
There's lots of rape.
Yeah.
Right?
So I don't know. I sort of get it.
To that, like, yeah, exactly. Anyway.
But it's shitty. It's not pleasant to read about,
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not looking. I don't think you need to rape every single character. I mean, again, I don't know how bad it is in the books.
I mean,
but
I will say I felt like the Sansa rape scene where you see Theon's face and hear the sounds, that made me physically uncomfortable. And we weren't even seeing anything that graphic. They just did it in this conceptual way, and like you were like living vicariously through the pain on Theon's face. And there was like part of me that felt like that's a really good way to display that without showing things that are very graphic, but still making it very emotional and dark. At the same time, God, I kind of wish I didn't see it. You know what I mean? Like if I could go back in time, I almost wish I didn't have to watch that scene. That's one when I go back and watch Game of Thrones over again, I kind of fuck off into the kitchen when that happens, Were
you doing this one when the Clegane Bowl started? Because I definitely did this one. I had the hand half covering the screen, only looking at the bottom half because I did not want to see the head explosion again. That's my style. I'm not into watching that again. It's like I don't need to see that, man.
I don't really mind.
That's cool. I get some people like it.
When he started gouging his eyes out, Mott and I were both like, oh, for fuck's sake, man. Jesus Christ. Like, I watched, but I was squirming in my chair. Like that, the eye gouging really bugs me, man. That shit is hard to witness.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right, but anyway, so first off, actually, because we're talking about the books right now, what's the play, guys? Do you start the books now, or do you wait? Do you wait until the books actually come out to start? That's the question. Because on the one hand, I don't want to start the books and get teased. But on the other hand, I don't want to wait for the books to come out and then get spoiled.
Right. I think I read so fucking slow. I got to get caught up now because when the books drop, I want to be ready to go. I don't want to be like, exactly. Oh, fuck, I still have a whole other book to go.
Yeah.
Because I'm a slow reader, dude. I've heard that the books actually go by pretty quick and they're pretty easy to read, but
George Martin will die. Spoilers. Jesus, you guys are savage. This is awesome, guys. I'm really happy we can do this together because my wife wants to watch the shows, but she doesn't have a lot of time for watching TV. We get like one episode in every like couple of days of whatever we're watching together. So she really wants to watch all of Game of Thrones, but it's going to be forever. So I have no one to talk to this about. She listens to me rant about it. She doesn't care about spoilers.
Yep. Yeah. So episode 3, I think we've ripped apart. Episode 4. So that was last week. Now that they are all starting to blur together for me. All right. Last week. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was where the dragon died. The classic, hey guys, yeah, let's go get him. And I get they're trying to show that Dany is like power hungry and she's a Targaryen and she can't use good judgment even if she wanted to, and that she's slowly getting ripped apart by all this war and all these pressures. We're just flying. Then all of a sudden, dragon's head explodes. You're on the crack shot with the scorpion.
Yeah.
I thought that whole sequence was complete dog shit. I think the way they set it up was stupid. I think conceptually with boats versus dragons, hitting a dragon multiple times like that would be so difficult. B, there's no way you would not see boats if you're flying, just in terms of eye line, ocean. I get it. They're hiding behind the cove, but like you can create that same kind of dynamic and make Euron look like a genius instead of doing it like this. Oh, surprise!
Oh, it could have been so good, dude. It could have been so good. Like, I hate how much better that could have been. Like, what if he had like a dummy fleet of like 3 ships, and they're just sitting there with their little things, and Danny dives in for a big firebomb with the 2 dragons, and then there's like a cross, and they had to just like harpoon the shit out of them. That could have been so cool. Like, how easy? I mean, how much harder is that? It's not that difficult. I just thought that in like 15 seconds.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Instead of what? I don't even know what happened. Nothing happened. They were just there. That's what happened. They were there.
She's just looking at Rhaegal like, look at this nice dragon. Oh, he's a little bit injured. I love my dragons. No, my dragon. Like, dog. And then what is her reaction after that? Well, I'm just going to fly straight at him. And then apparently Euron is just unlucky in his next volley of arrows that fly right by her head. I hate in any kind of action or fantasy movie when the main characters survive based on luck. To me, it takes away the whole thing. Like those stupid Hobbit movies where they're just rolling in front of the boulder and Gandalf's looking behind him like, oh, God, no. And they get lucky that the boulder rolls off the cliff. Make it strategic. Make the main characters smart. Make them do things that other characters wouldn't normally do. That's what made Breaking Bad so fucking good. Because they would get into these conundrums and then they'd come up with solutions where I go, fuck, I never even would have thought of that. Holy shit, this Walter White guy's actually pretty fucking smart. He didn't get by on luck most of the time. There's a degree of luck, but it's all a system of his prowess and his skills and his decision-making being a step ahead. Where is that in this story? As far as I can tell, they're all just throwing dice at each other. It's ridiculous.
Oh, God. And what else was episode 4?
Jamie fucks off. He leaves Brienne for no reason. 7 seasons of character development. Good guy banging it, or bad guy banging his sister, slowly transitioning into good guy. Has to get his hand cut off to be humbled. Has all this character development with Bronn. All of this character development with Brienne. All of a sudden they bang, and then that's it. He leaves. Now, this is where you and I strongly disagreed this time last week. I said, they ruined it. Jamie is fucked. He's leaving to go bang Cersei. I can't believe they just threw it away. And I remember you were like, dude, there is no way. He is definitely going to kill Cersei. There's no way they're going to fuck it up that bad. They have to do justice to this character. He's one of the greatest characters ever. There's just no way it can be that bad. It was that bad. As we learned in the last episode, he went back so that they could hug in the Red Keep when the rocks came down, Romeo and Juliet style. Wow.
Yeah.
What a shit character he turned out to be.
I really thought, guys. I really thought. Oh. I mean, again, that's a good question. Would you criticize George R.R. Martin if he wrote it like that in the books? Not all characters can be redeemed, maybe. That's fine. And I'm actually okay with that. It's the problem of how short it is.
Yeah.
It's just like Daenerys. I don't mind if Daenerys becomes the Mad Queen. That's fine. That is a very likely thing that is supposed to happen. But it's not going to happen over 2 episodes. It's not going to happen. It's just like, it's like if you wanted to do these giant sweeps in character and not follow the arc and trajectory that they've been on for so long, like you can kill a character in 1 second, but I don't think you can change their entire fiber of being in 2 seconds. And it's like,
agreed.
They're treating it the same way.
Agreed.
You know?
No, I mean,
it's really frustrating.
Jumping ahead to last night's episode, to me, that was the fundamental moment of like, Daenerys goes crazy, right? They surrender. She can stop blowing shit up, and she just snaps and starts melting people, right? Now, I'm okay with that outcome, but I think there are a lot of easy ways that you can build it up. They surrender. She flies to the Red Keep. She has some dialogue with Cersei. Cersei says some shit that's really triggering, calls her a nephew fucker or whatever. She loses it, and then she blows everything up, right? I'm okay with her snapping and being that crazy, but the fact that it just happens in 2 seconds with no catalyst, she's just like, hey, they gave up, but Jon doesn't want to fuck me, and just melts the whole fucking place. Like, what? What just happened?
And it wasn't just like, the thing I don't understand is like, it wasn't just like one fireball, you know what I mean? It's not like she just torched one street and then she like sees Jon or something and then like reins herself in, or even that would have been a terrible thing. I mean, she fucking goes. This dragon is just doing laps around the city. It's like we got 15 or 20 minutes of scenes happening around the city, and every time someone's just like, oh, there goes Danny again, burning more children.
It's just like, it makes it so stupid when there's no setup. It just makes it like, all right, well, now we're just watching shit explode, you know? Now we're just watching fire explosions. We're watching Arya get lucky, dodging all these fucking projectiles and debris flying at her. The thing that really upset me in that last episode was that Cersei had no plan.
This was by far my biggest gripe.
That after all of that, this
mad.
setup, this mad genius, all of the things she's done in previous seasons with that fucking green explosion goo, the innovation that they spent an entire season building up that green goo shit. The part of a season building up the scorpions. And she's just like, oh, well, Euron killed one. Maybe he can do it again. I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? You're just sitting in this castle drinking wine going, well, Euron's pretty good with his bow and arrow.
When has Cersei ever, like, just given up? Like, when has she, like, given the reins to everyone else but herself? I don't understand it.
Never.
I legitimately don't get why she just stood there.
What? Like, I actually thought it was going to be a stalemate because of the green stuff. I thought she was going to move everybody into the keep, load it up with explosives, and then when she has the confrontation with Dany, when she lands in the keep, say, yo, bitch, we either all die right now or we come to terms, and then she either blows them all up or Dany flies away, and then we have an interesting setup for the final episode. Instead, Cersei just fucking stood there and died. That was the whole thing. No plan. No nothing. Like, why wouldn't you at least go out with a bang and take out the enemy forces if you know you're going to die? I get they're trying to show that she's also kind of gone crazy and that, you know, power corrupts and all this stuff, and her ego has overpowered all of her ability to objectively analyze scenarios. But again, you can tell that story in a way that isn't just like...
Literally her looking longingly from a balcony.
We lost?
That was her whole episode.
You mean they killed all the scorpions? Oh, no.
All right, so here was my plan, guys. So 20 minutes in this episode, I had a moment where I was just like, oh my God, they can save this. Like, maybe there's actually something they can do here. So my thought was, what if Qyburn had actually mastered this whole thing that he did to the mountain, and they were distributing something to all those civilians they packed inside, and he was going to make, like, a bunch of fucking super soldiers. And I was like, oh my God, that's why they're on the Red Keep, and they're going to, like, open up this gate, and it's going to be, like a second undead or some shit. And I was like, oh, this could actually be so cool. And then I kept waiting and waiting. And then no.
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was no plan. There was fucking nothing. It was just, we got Clegane Bowl, which again was fine. But honestly, because everything else was so bad, it kind of made Clegane Bowl that much better. But at the same time, it's like, God, Clegane, wow, that's a tongue twister. Clegane Bowl could have been better at the same time still. I will say his death was by far the funniest moment of the season, and just like very satisfying and quite excellent. He got throttled.
Yeah. I was pretty okay with the Clegane Bowl. I think you're right. It's so hyped. It is one of the hardest things to actually execute well. I liked that they were setting up the Hound and Arya dying simultaneously in different scenarios after having that really meaningful conversation where she turns and says thank you. I thought that was the perfect setup before his death. I was ready for Arya to die, and I actually thought she was going to die there. I was fucking pissed when she survived and had that magical moment with the horse, whatever the fuck that final 15 minutes was. 15 minutes of my life I'm never going to get back, as she fucking has this vision of like, oh my God, I'm Anakin Skywalker. The midichlorians have kept me alive. I'm going to run out of the city. Like, what is happening there? Why is that horse still alive? Why is that horse still standing there? All of it is so fucking stupid. Notice how they didn't show her mounting the horse. How did she mount this bareback horse as she rides off into the sunset by herself? She's short. You can't just jump up on... it was all so
first off,
fucking
Arya
stupid.
can. She jumped and killed the Night King. She can do whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah, she can... It was so dumb, such awful setup. But back to the Clegane Bowl, it was a little bit poetic. I like that it's kind of this stalemate. He stabs him in the head. That's still not enough to kill him. Confirms that his brother is like this true zombie, fucking inhuman, basically unkillable. So the Hound commits suicide to kill his brother and finally find his vengeance into the fire, which is his greatest fear throughout the entire show. So it's exemplary of him owning his fears and using the tool that his brother tortured him with so long ago to get the killing blow over his brother. it really tied that
It was
character
good.
full circle. I thought that was rather poetic and nicely done, to be honest.
Yeah, and to back the horse, I know some people are pointing it out, like this whole idea of death rides the pale horse from the Bible, from Revelations
Yeah.
and everything. And apparently, I guess that reference is canon in Game of Thrones, apparently, because I believe I was reading Free Folk, obviously, because I haven't read the books, but supposedly they use what do you call it? I think it's a dysentery. It's like diarrhea, basically. They call that the pale mare, supposedly.
Okay.
So that's kind of funny. So it's like death. The reference is still there. So
All right.
death rides the white horse. Blah blah blah. God, our
All
Free
right.
Folk, by the way, is my favorite subreddit. God damn, that subreddit is so funny.
10 out of 10.
It actually kills me every day. Every day after the episode, I just can't wait to read our Free Folk. Like that's more exciting than the episode itself.
Yeah, for sure. I also hate that there's no dialogue about battle strategy anymore. You know, to me, all of these fights come down to the dragon. If they kill the dragon,
okay,
the whole thing's over.
What the fuck was the dragon this episode? Why? Why is the dragon suddenly a billion times more powerful? Is it just like I
Because
guess
she's
I
angry.
couldn't fly in the winter, but now I'm in the sun. So now I'm like Superman and I'm powered up and there's no more kryptonite because I killed the scorpions.
Yeah.
Now everyone's dead.
Apparently the dragon has an unlimited supply of fire juice or whatever the fuck it uses to breathe fire. I just don't get how they don't have, like, think about how much discussion has been around like those giant tables talking about armies and strategies and flanks and how they're going to do stuff in battles to find an advantage.
Yeah.
Zero dialogue about it on either side. And again, it's if they kill the dragon, does that army still even want to follow Daenerys? I don't know. That's an interesting plot device, right? And if they don't kill the dragon, guess what? Your whole fucking city is going to be lit on fire. So to me, there should be a shitload of conversation about, guys, how do we protect the dragon on the Daenerys and Jon Snow
They
side?
can't justify any of the strategy, though, because it's also terrible. How can you have dialogue over something you can't justify?
Well, that's a good point. But, I mean, still,
there.
you got to, like... You got to do something. You got to it should be a passing thought, right? Like, all right, Danny, I get you want to attack. What's the plan? We're going to blast them. All right, well, that's not a plan. We should probably, you know, are you going first? Are we going to go in first? Like, what was it? The Golden Company? I mean, what was their role in this whole fight? Why were they outside of the castle? You know they've got a dragon. You're just sitting out there waiting to be roasted. What the shit was that?
I guess they really, I mean, to be fair, it was one dragon, and they were probably like, yeah, we just shot down, like, I know that the Night King threw a javelin at one, so how hard can it be for 100 scorpions or however many they had to just kill this dragon? Because how does the scene start? Danny's flying in from the sun, right? She's basically using the sun to blind them. Plus, she's coming in extremely vertically, which makes sense. Should have done that before. She comes in super vertically, and then she flies really low, which I guess was supposed to be some sort of logic, like they can't adjust them in time because you saw them like trying to turn them. That was a little lame, I have to say.
Well, it's like they tried to compensate for the last one where it's like, yo, boats don't turn, angles are a thing. Why are you flying straight at the weapons that can only shoot in this limited arc? Use your fucking noodle for a second, lady.
Go behind the sail, maybe. You know? Like they're not mounted on the back, guys.
God, and you're right. They can't shoot straight up. It's literally impossible for them to shoot directly up in like 90-degree vertical. So just fly down at them. She figured it out in this episode. Well done. I mean, are they supposed to be implying that like Euron basically just got lucky by hitting the first dragon, and that's why like, and now he's just equally unlucky because they hit that dragon
luck when you hit 3 in a row.
3 times. Exactly. They hit him 3 times. You know, they could have just left it where, like, that dragon gets hit and gets mortally injured and then misses all the other shots. But no, it gets shot in the chest and then its fucking head blows up. I don't know, man. It's frustrating for me when they advertise these extended episodes and it feels like every episode has at least 30 minutes of just wasted bullshit Martin Scorsese-style cinematography of people just staring at each other to epic music. You know, they're like trying to build the hype with these dark shadows. And it's like, fucking cut all that shit out and just give me some dialogue. You know? Give me a reason to care about these characters. And why are they letting people walk away? Why is Tormund just walking up to the north?
Why are they letting people walk away?
Like, what the fuck is this,
we
dude?
could actually go on forever about this. Actually.
You know, like, obviously Tormund is going to make some kind of redemption. He's going to show up with Ghost and they're going to save the day or something. Or not. Or they're just going to drift away into nothingness and go up into the north. And
I mean,
That'll
his
be it.
war, it's the same thing where it's okay for a character arc to end with them not dying. That's fine. It's just like, I see ya. That's all it feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess if it wasn't so rushed, it wouldn't feel as bad. Like it's okay for him to leave because all we need is some sort of a discussion between him and John saying, "Well, the war is won," and John says something like, "Well, the war is just beginning," and he's like, "Well, my war is over. The Night King's dead. I have to go home to my people." That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. That's cool. You know what I mean? But instead, it's just like they basically high five, and he grabs Ghost, and they just leave.
Yep. Same thing with Braun. He just walks in. Oh, hey, guys, what's going on? Yeah, I've been working for your sister. Oh, what's that? Some big gulps there? Oh, cool. All right, well, see you later. Let me know when that castle's ready. I'm out of here. And then he just leaves, and you're just like, wait, what? What?
I mean, I was fine with Braun, too, because Braun made it very clear he was not going to be at the battle.
Well, yeah, it's just weird that, like, it
Why
feels...
was his scene even needed, though?
Right, it's
point.
just fan servicey, like, oh, hey, guys. Oh, you want to give me a castle? All right. Well... I'm out of here, and then he just walks away, and that's kind of the end of it. You're like, interesting. Wow, a lot of character development there. And
I really wanted to see something with the Dothraki when they sieged it. I wanted them to be like confused by the city somehow. I was really hoping for some sort of a funny dialogue or some sort of a like they fuck up because they've never been in a city.
Yeah.
But that was disappointing. Not gonna lie.
Riddle me this: I can't decide if the guy that plays Grey Worm is the greatest actor ever or the worst actor ever, because I feel like all he does is make the same facial expression in every scene. Like in my head, I could visualize this meme like Grey Worm before Miss Andy dies, stone face. Grey Worm after Miss Andy dies, stone face with quivering eyeballs, you know? Like he's the greatest soldier ever. And that's why I really can't tell. Is he just an incredible actor that is so true to the character that is who he is? Or is it just like, all right, here you go. Do that one thing you know how to do.
Right? He went full on rage mode when they had surrendered, and then he just, I don't know.
Yeah, his face quivered a little bit. Yeah, he got real mad. Oh, you mean when he started slaying people? Yeah, he lost it a little bit.
He kind of went Mad Queen, too. He took the lead from Daenerys on that one.
Hell yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, the Grey Worm is he's just there now. He's just like a backdrop to me.
Yeah. I just wish they would kill some characters to make it interesting again. I really just like have these awesome memories of the earlier seasons where, I mean, they do it in the first fucking season.
It's because you can't introduce any more characters now, though.
Yeah, but who cares? It's
well,
like
you only got so many to work with here. You can't kill them all off.
I'm not saying all of them, just any of them. Like, how did nobody die in the crypts in the fight? How is Gilly still alive, you know? How about if Sam's son died? Now, that could have been interesting. You know, like they're just killing these fucking side characters that I don't really care about that much. Like, kill somebody
like the leader
that
of the
fucking
gold
matters.
company. You don't care about him?
Who?
the guy she hired. The guy who was there for like one episode.
I mean, like Jorah is probably the most notable character that has died, and it's just like we all knew like that he was fucking dying at some point. He survived grayscale for Christ's sake. I mean, he was doomed from the beginning. It seems like being young is also a death sentence. I don't know, man. I really think this show is going to go down like lost territory, one of the greatest setups ever, and one of the worst endings ever. No matter what happens now, this final season has just been a travesty compared to the rest of the show.
I can't believe there's only one episode left.
I know. Even if it's a 2-hour-long episode.
How long is it? Do you know?
I don't think it's been released.
Oh, really?
But at least an hour and a half, I'd imagine. They might extend it a little more.
I assume it's going to be 90 minutes. That would be my guess.
Yeah. There's
80
one
minutes,
left.
Apparently, it's been released. Wow. That's not a lot.
It's not a lot. So, all right. Prediction. Let's wrap this thing up. How do you think it's going to end?
All right. Now, first, please, no leaks. I know there are leaks out there and stuff from things. So please, if you know, please do us a favor. Don't put it in the chat. Be nice guys here. I trust you all. Love you all. It's okay. So, all right. So obviously, we're going to have some sort of a confrontation between Dany and Jon. That seems inevitable at this point.
Yes.
How do you save this season? That's the real question. I mean, I really don't have an answer. I guess the problem is who's left that theoretically can take the throne. We got Jon Snow, we got Daenerys, we got Gendry.
in theory, Sansa, right? Kind of.
Oh, yeah, Sansa for sure. God, that was weird that she wasn't in this episode at all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That it? Is Stannis dead, guys?
Oh my God, dude. If Stannis comes back, end me. End me.
Isn't he one of those people that, like, theoretically no one knows if he died or whatever because he didn't actually show it?
Yes, that scene ends with Brienne finding him up against a tree as he looks like he's bleeding out, and she pulls her sword out like she's going to end him, and then the scene cuts. We never actually saw Stannis die. But
I mean, he's definitely dead. Let's be real. I'm in the camp. He's 100% dead.
I mean, I thought the same thing about Jaime in that last episode. He got stabbed in the gut. He's got this collapsed lung. He's wheezing. He gets stabbed again by Euron before he dies, and then he just walks away. And by the end, Cersei's just like, "Oh, love, you're bleeding." He's like, "Oh, it's just a flesh wound." It's like, dude, you would have been so fucking dead. You would have bled out 20 minutes ago. You wouldn't have made it to the Red Keep. So somehow in this show, they must all have the opposite of an iron deficiency and have the best clotting blood in the fucking world because nobody seems to bleed out unless they get stabbed in the fucking heart. So honestly, maybe Stannis will show up. It's not the craziest thing they've done in this season. But that would be awful.
There's no way, dude. Actually, no way.
I know R.R. Martin had said before this season that the ending of the show is bittersweet. And before this season started, my prediction was actually the undead are going to win. I thought they were going to do one of those, like, every show ends with, like, kind of the redemption arc. Like, look at Harry Potter. Yeah, you know, Harry's going to win. This was going to be the show where they were going to go full circle. Like, we killed Ned Stark in episode 6. Guess what? Finale, the Night King is sitting on the throne, and the humans are the bitches.
I thought it was going to be a little bit more cyclical. Like, because... I actually thought that Cersei was going to get away. And I thought they were going to try and basically set it up so that we're back at square zero. Because, like, let's say Cersei had have escaped with her baby. Then now she essentially becomes the Targaryens. Because she's the one who was, quote-unquote, unfairly forced out of her throne. And then this child will be born somewhere. And this child is essentially the new Daenerys. And will grow up thinking that it deserves a throne. This whole idea. And then... you'd have Dany sitting on the throne, and then you'd have, like, obviously this disagreement has taken place between Dany and Dany and Jon. So then Jon ends up, like, basically going back north and kind of ruling with Sansa, or he ends up leading a rebellion, and he's basically like I feel like it looked like they were trying to set it up so that everyone is essentially taking the place of a character from the first season.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I like that. I mean, I think
she died, and I was like, oh.
That would
never mind.
Be kind of a beautiful way to end it. I don't think Jon is going to end up on the throne. I kind of think both either Jon and Dany will die or Dany will kill Jon, and then maybe it's just going to end with her sitting on the throne, dude, and the Mad Queen is going to rule after all this horse shit.
But there's nothing to rule.
Well, I'm saying it's going to go cyclical in the sense that it started with this, like, hey, we're still feeling the effects of the Mad King. You know, like, what is it, the first episode or second episode?
Oh, yeah, then Tyrion kills her, and he's the new Kingslayer.
Robert wants to kill her, you know, and the whole fucking story arc is, you know, Ned protecting her as we go back. We know he's holding this secret, and the whole show is framed in the context of the Mad King, and I think it's going to end, the bittersweet ending will be, it was all fucking for nothing. The Targaryens are back, and now it's a Mad Queen, and we're just starting over again.
Yeah,
the Mad King goes to the Mad Queen, and that's going to be it. She's just going to be an evil ruler in power with no love, no nothing, just fucking power and fire, baby.
Yeah,
that's a shitty ending, but I think that's what's going to happen.
There shouldn't be... I guess the only way that the two of them survive, being Jon and Dany, is if Jon essentially just leaves. That's the only way they can both survive the next episode, right? Is if Jon just goes back north and we're back into essentially a realms standoff thing.
Probably. Now let me hit you with a hard question here, okay? Right. Do you feel like Jon should have just sacked up and banged his aunt for the good of the realm? Because there was a moment, right? There was a true redemption moment where she's
she'd still
having
be
this
crazy.
fucking mental breakdown. She's got the dark circles under her eyes. Her hair's fucking crazy. And he says,
Did you
I
notice
love
her hair
you.
looked like her brother's hair in the first season? That
Yep.
caught me the second I saw it. I was like, she looks like her brother.
Exactly,
Like
dude.
almost identical.
Exactly.
I was like, that's pretty good. I thought
And-
that was impressive.
And fucking, he says it. I love you. You are my queen. And she gets up to him and it's just like, is that all I am to you? And tries to kiss him. And he fucking gives her the stone face. He couldn't even have said, like, why didn't he just say, listen, I'd love to fuck you and I love you, but I'm not into banging ants. This is over the line for me. And it's not
That's
personal.
basically what he did say.
Huh?
That's basically what he did say.
He said it with his fucking stone cold face of just like,
His Jon Snow face, dude.
yeah, the Jon Snow. That's like the moment where you got to see through the veil and be like, Danny, listen, man, come on, we'll find you another great. We can rule
Yeah,
together.
but she can't. That's what he did say. I don't think that scene needed more dialogue, honestly.
You might be right.
If that's what your reasoning is.
No,
'Cause
my
that's
reasoning
what he
is
said
just
by
that
not fucking her.
John should have just fucking dealt with it and banged her, man. My reasoning is that John is smart enough to. He should have been smart enough to realize that she was at a breaking point and that she was like. She needed some form of love, and even if it's fucked up love, it's just like, dude,
that
you
wouldn't
had the
stop
chance to
anything,
rein
though.
her in.
It wouldn't have stopped anything.
It
There's
would
no
have
way.
slowed down things a little bit. She might not have popped off and melted the whole
So what?
city.
He's just gonna pretend to be her queen forever? Like the second he dumps her, she'll just burn the whole city
Nah,
anyway.
play
and
the
she's
late
truly
game,
going
dude.
mad.
We're like on this cusp right now. They all know this invasion is like short-sighted and happening too soon. Just fucking buy some time. You're just buying time, dude. That's it. You're just banging her to buy time. 6 months later, you either decide if you're gonna kill her or go do something else, and then she's but like you're buying time for the realm. Instead, Jon Snow pulls off the Band-Aid. I'm noble. I won't bang my aunt. And it's like, well, now the whole fucking capital is on fire. Those are
I
on
don't
you,
think that would've
John.
changed anything.
Those
Come
are
let's
on
be
you.
real. Nah, I don't think so.
No, you don't think so?
She would have been the Mad Queen either way. I think it was. She already knew. I think it was pretty clear.
I
Like,
guess
let's be
maybe
honest
I'm
here.
believing too much in Jon Snow. I think if
I
he
think you
kept
are.
up the facade, he could have manipulated her a bit. I think that would have been a more interesting ending. I would have rather seen. I would have rather watched the uncomfortable scenes of aunt and nephew canoodling, but knowing that Jon Snow is now tortured by having to do this really fucked up act that he thinks is immoral and disagrees with, but he's doing it to try to better the realm, and then those efforts backfire. Oh, that could have been such an interesting story, you know? But instead, he just goes, no, I'm noble. And then she burns the whole place down. Like, it's like reading a shitty comic book, man.
All right. What are our positives? Do you got any? What positives have we listed for this episode? Can we? You guys want to turn some positives?
Okay.
I'm
I'm
up
gonna,
for
well,
some
so
positives.
I was complimentary of the Clegane Bowl. I think that's my number
Game Ball,
one.
positive. Arya's scene with the Hound. The last scene, the like
Before-
revenge will
yeah.
just lead you down a dark path. I actually thought that was really good. That was like a good example of some decent dialogue. I thought that was nice.
I actually didn't hate the way Euron died because he's such a shitty one-dimensional character. I loved the idea that he didn't care that he died because knowing that he, quote, killed Jaime Lannister was like enough of a prize for him to make his death worth it. I felt like that
was terrible.
I thought that was fitting for how shitty the character is.
That I will agree with.
You know what I mean?
It just shows how short. Like they basically made him the most short-sighted piece of garbage ever.
Yes. So I like
All
that
right,
it at
fine.
least
Fair.
held true to the character because
Yeah.
Jaime, it blows my mind. You just ripped apart literally 7 seasons of character development for what? To just disappoint everyone and make him a really lame one-dimensional character to hammer home that people don't change? Like, okay, great.
I would. Well, I see. Like, I know some people were really disappointed because that's a very controversial one. The idea of Arya and the Hound and the way that she just suddenly stopped trying to go kill Cersei. But I think when you think about like how much time she spent with the Hound, and like slowly over time they actually do build up a relationship,
Yes.
and stuff starts to change between the two of them. That I think she does respect his opinion enough, and that she does see this whole thing of just like, I'm going to die right now. I'm going to die because I'm going to just go for stupid revenge. Look at this right now. Cersei's going to die. Cersei will not survive this right now. It's
Yeah.
not like Cersei was going to live. If it looked obvious that Cersei could somehow survive, Arya wouldn't have killed her.
Yeah.
But it was over, and everyone knew it was over at that point. So I think it was fine. I thought it was really good because the whole idea of Arya, and some people point out, yes, she did bake a guy into a cake earlier, or a pie, and feed it to somebody. So she was super fucked up, but she's always been this. She's
Right.
always back and forth, you know?
Right.
She can't find her human side or whatever between her assassin side and blah, blah, blah.
No, I agree. I think
I liked it.
What's good about that scene to me is it shows character development. It shows that she's still struggling with that duality you just described, and it shows that her relationship with the Hound has evolved to this. It was a person that she kind of resented and then didn't really know how to deal with respecting him. And at the end, when it's all there and she's looking around and kind of snaps out of her own ego and goes, fuck.
He's
this
her
guy,
daddy, dude.
Huh?
He's Ned. He becomes a father figure to Arya throughout the show.
Exactly.
It was pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah. I think that was very telling of their relationship, and I liked it more than if she had just followed him in there and died to some rock fall or some shit, you know? I think another positive, the way Qyburn died, 100%.
Best death this season, 100.
Everybody
no
seems to like that, but
God tier. That's like the only thing I've seen renowned like just positive. The whole thing. This is the best. Qyburn was hilarious. Like that was 10 out of 10, dude.
100%. I'm scraping for other positives from this one.
I see one thing that some people really like is those scenes with Arya like going through the city and like the cinematography. I think the show has definitely shifted, maybe because it's become more popular. It started, or maybe it's because they also make the episodes longer. I don't know what causes it, but for some reason it seems like the showrunners feel the need to create beautiful cinematography. Wow, geez, I'm losing my English. Cinematographically satisfying scenes. That was English. Like it feels like they need that. You know what I mean? Like these scenes of Arya just like running through and like the camera, rocks are falling. Oh my god, a dead person. Oh my god, another dead person. Chaos. And it's like all this like beautiful one shot, and it's impressive. But I feel like I don't need 20 minutes of that.
Yeah, I think it's misinterpretation of audience feedback, because in season 7 especially and some of season 6 there were some incredible battle just camera shots. The only way to put it, like the one when Bronn reveals the scorpion and he's trying to run to it and it's that long continuous shot where the horses are running over him. That scene was sick. The way they set that up was just incredible, and they did a really good job of displaying these really chaotic fights and still making it meaningful, and the audience loved it. So I think they interpreted that as like, well, fuck, if they like that, we got to double down. Let's up the ante again. And it's like, no, you had it calibrated pretty fucking good. It's like a limited kind of poison. If you do too much of it, then it loses its beauty, and we're just watching these long sequences that are like, does any of this fucking matter? I'd rather the characters just be talking to each other right now. You know, it's awesome in the context of we need this battle scene to push the plot forward. You know, think about the Battle of the Bastards. The battle was cool, but we were all hyped up about the battle because of everything that led up to it and the characters involved and the younger Stark brother being kidnapped and then getting killed and all the stuff he did to Theon and
all that
Sansa.
Stuff is so long ago, man.
Like, but that's what made the Battle of the Bastards good. It wasn't the cinematography in the battle. That was just a little side thing that's like, oh, wow, that was pretty cool. And it's like they interpreted that feedback as, well, now we got to up our battle game. It's like, who gives a shit about the fire in the battles, man? Like, it's kind of cool, but we care about the characters. I'm here for the characters. I'm here for the characters. Why? How did that memo get lost in translation? That's the part that I don't get. It's all about the characters.
All right. Well, I guess that is that's the only positives I can really come up with.
All right. So last character I want to ask you about is, what do you think is going to happen with Bran? Do you think so? I think he's akin to the Night King, where they set him up to be one of the coolest characters. You know, he's the three-eyed raven. The three-eyed raven has all this crazy power. He's basically the equivalent of the giver for the realm that holds all these memories and actually knows the truth about how things happened. He is the master manipulator. And this season, he's pretty much just sat there. His big contribution
I think he's written out. I think he's done.
The Night King's going to come for me, guys. I'll be the bait. He just sits there listening to his iPod like there's nothing going on. And the battle's over, and he's just like, yep, I knew we would win. I'm the three-eyed raven. Nothing really surprises me anymore. Cool. All right. Good luck down south, guys. I'm going to chill up here with Sansa. Can somebody push my wheelchair? I don't have Hodor anymore.
I think I think Bran is written out, and I think they've actually justified it, as much as I hate to say it, because they basically said that he doesn't care. At least it seems to me that the three-eyed raven does not give a flying fuck about the realms of men other than them surviving. He basically just didn't want the Night King to rule the entire world. So now that the Night King is dead, I feel like the Three-Eyed Raven just does not care anymore. Does that seem true?
I think so. I would have
So,
liked.
he doesn't care who sits on the Iron Throne, and so I feel like they're just going to use that as an excuse to never show Bran again.
So I feel like if that's true, they could have given us closure on that character with a little bit of dialogue between Bran and the Night King. You know, like we never really got any sense of what the real, like, I mean, we kind of know, like, he wants to eliminate memories and Bran's holding the memories, but like the Night King never fucking said anything. I kind of wish there was just another layer to it.
Does he even talk? I guess he can't talk.
I don't know.
No, I mean, like, he probably literally can't talk.
I mean, just something, you know, like I really thought we would get more meta with like the Hodor meta thing was weird but kind of cool, and then they just ditched that. You know, it's like you add this time travel element. It's like, well, why didn't Bran just go back in and fucking mess with the history when they created the Night King to begin with? Clearly, he can affect the present by going into memories of the past, Hodor.
Yeah.
Why don't you make the Night King all retarded like that?
Maybe he did. Maybe that's our excuse that we just don't know yet.
Maybe. I have trouble believing Bran is just gone. I can't disagree with your analysis logically.
He'll be there, but he won't play a major part.
But
he'll just be talking to Sansa, and he'll say some line like, "I don't care." It'll basically just be, "I don't care."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm pretty hard sold on that.
Someone mentioned Varys. I mean, that's how the episode started.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mind Varys. I'm surprised people are that upset with it. Oh, here's a quiz question, guys, because I saw this in some of the threads, and to be honest, I'm not sure. Were they on a beach or in a cave? I thought they were on a beach. Some people thought they were in a cave.
Well, can't there be caves on a beach?
Yeah, but like when he got killed, were they in a cave or were they on the beach? Because I thought he was on the beach, but some people are like, yeah, they were in a cave, and I'm just like, what?
I don't know.
The show, that's how dark the show has gotten, like literally dark. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to tell what scenes you're in. That some people thought that they were in a cave, which made me laugh.
I actually don't know. I guess I kind of thought cave from what I'm picturing in my head, but I'd have to go back and watch it again.
I mean, it looked like there was water in the background, so I thought they were on a beach. But anyway,
yeah. I do
Varys'
like
death to me was okay.
Me too. I like that Tyrion turned on him. Again, there was some character development. They're good friends. Tyrion confided the secret in him. They have all that dialogue where he says, how many people know? If it's more than 5, it's not a secret anymore. And Varys starts leading this thing to start the treasonous rebellion. And we're seeing for the first time that Tyrion has shifted from his objective analysis of the realm, where him and Varys used to be aligned, and now he's actually a follower of someone. At the beginning of that episode, he is all in on Dany. He says, you know what? Varys might be objectively right, but at some point, I have to pick a winner, and I'm committed to her winning. And that's why he turns him in.
I was a little torn because this idea, too, of Varys, like, he has been manipulating forever, right? That's the whole idea of the character.
Yes.
But how often do you complain when you're watching a TV show or a movie or reading a book and you're just like, if these two characters just fucking talk to each other, this whole plot point is moot. That is like the most classic thing in every movie ever, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you're watching a romantic comedy. It's just like, why won't you just talk to each other? You'd understand. It's all a misunderstanding. So here's the thing. Exactly. Master manipulator. Hey, Jon, want to commit treason. But I'm actually okay because he did just straight up talk to Jon, because at this point, it's literally the last chance. I think he knew that, as he said to the little girl, bigger risk, bigger reward. And he took the largest risk possible and just fucking straight up told Jon.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucked. But at the same time, I think he had to do something a little bit ridiculous. And obviously it did not work the way he thought it would. I think he just knew he was going to die for saying it.
Agreed. And I think with characters like that are playing that risk-reward game, eventually some of them have to run out of rope, or else Varys just becomes like the god of the realm, and you start to wonder, like, damn, is he really that good of a manipulator, or is he just like kind of stupidly lucky because they were lazy about how they implemented this? And I think it was about time that, everyone's egos seem to be getting out of control, and his ego sort of got the best of him as well. It seemed
he definitely had an ego. I did like how he, when he heard them coming, he took off the rings because I think he thought they were going to bash his hands in. That's what my thought was when he did that. Is that like, oh, fuck, they're going to bash my hands in so I can stop writing. I don't know if he thought they were going to kill him.
Yeah, maybe that's supposed to speak to the ego thing.
Yeah. Like, he didn't think, like, oh, they won't just kill me. Like, they'll punish me or something. I don't know. Or maybe, I don't know what else the other point would be of just taking off the rings like that.
I mean, yeah, I thought it was an allegiance thing. Like, he was wearing rings that were significant to, like, whatever his roots were, and he thought that would be evidence of his treason or whatever, but I guess they already had plenty of evidence. I don't know. I guess if I had to summarize the whole thing, all of my feelings, it just feels like all of the characters have gotten dumber. Is that a fair assessment? Like, it just feels like everyone has gotten less analytical, less critical of others' actions.
I would call it rushed, and that's because it is all rushed. But
Yes.
that's what's happening to the characters.
But that's the byproduct of what it feels like, where it's just like, wait, what? You didn't think about that? You didn't think about the boats? Wait. You didn't think that the dragon
Danny
would
kind of forgot about that's gonna go down as one of the best quotes of all time. Well, Danny sort of forgot about the Iron Fleet.
What?
That just kills me, dude. That is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Like, why? How did that even get released as a talking point after the episode? Who saw that and said, "Yeah, we should probably say that"?
Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
we
should let the general public know that was our reasoning.
Like, again, I think there are so many ways you can set up this war times, ego, she's stressed, she's not thinking properly. Sansa tried to say it wasn't time to fight, people are injured, but she doesn't listen. You can achieve the same end result in a setup that's meaningful instead of just being like, oh, well, yeah, she forgot. Trust me, man, if you were in that scenario, you'd forget too. Like, I don't know that I would.
The pressures of war, you know?
The pressures of war.
She forgot.
That would be like us being like, oh, North Korea has nuclear weapons? Oh, I kind of forgot about that. You're right. We just blew up those guys, and I just forgot. Fuck.
She just forgot.
So stupid. So lazy.
Oh, God, I needed this, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
You guys are all.
This
guys
is
are the best.
become
I can't
our
wait
Monday
to do this
ritual.
after the final, guys. Our little Dota Game of Thrones community. This is amazing.
Yeah. So I think we're tentatively planning to do another podcast next Monday after the finale.
We're doing it right after. 100%.
And I honestly, it might just be a Game of Thrones podcast. We'll see. This is a cultural phenomenon, folks.
There's not going to be any Dota.
Yeah.
Between now and then. I think we just full on Game of Thrones.
I guess we'll know who qualified for the major. That's about it.
Is that over by then? Do they start that soon?
The
Jesus
opens.
Christ. Oh,
the opens
major
will be
qualifiers.
Yeah.
I mean, those finished didn't those finish last night?
Or I guess we'll know who qualified for the minor. Is more appropriate.
No. The whole major qualifiers have to happen, right? Wait, when do the major qualifiers start? Am I casting this shit?
No, wait.
Am I getting some money?
Oh, the actual major qualifiers. Oh yeah.
Right,
Shit.
those have to happen first.
No, you're right. I totally forgot.
Those don't start. Oh, those start in 2 days. All right. Well, I guess you're right. We'll know by Game of Thrones because they finished on the 19th.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll have a very brief who qualified for the majors into Game of Thrones podcast. Extremely brief.
Yeah. But yeah, I echoing what Trent said, thank you for joining us on this ride. It was very fun to
Zyori kind of forgot about the major qualifiers.
Oh yeah. Those things. Right.
Oh, well, the casters just forgot. No one casted them because they forgot.
It's going to be just like every other event. 2 days before they start, we'll get that email. Hey, we need casters to fill in this 24/7 schedule for the next 5 days. It starts in 48 hours. Can you help us out? The answer is always, yeah, I guess. Why couldn't we have planned this 3 weeks ago, for fuck's sake? But I actually don't know what's going on for Epicenter because aren't they doing that caster competition thing again? So they might be giving the opportunity to some of the lesser-known casters out there to grind the coverage. I actually don't know what the plan is, so maybe we should reach out.
Oh yeah, true. I mean, they won't be able to cover all of it though, will they?
I have no idea. I'll put that on my to-do list today. We'll see if we can get some updates on that. But yeah, major qualifiers around the corner. Fucking hype, dude. All right. Well, that's it. We're cutting this one. This has been a roller coaster. It might be the longest podcast in Trent and Zyori podcast history. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Audio only will be up on Zyori.tv per usual and the YouTube VOD. If you missed some of that Dota talk earlier on, we'll be up on youtube.com/moonducktv. But until next time, boys and girls, we'll see ya. Game of Thrones series finale.
I can't wait for next week.
Series finale. Fucking
I
watch
can't
it.
wait
If
to
you're
just
sitting
talk
there,
with you guys.
I'm not caught up. I don't know. What am I gonna fucking take this week? Block off some time. Get yourself caught up, and don't miss out on this cultural phenomena. Good or
It's
bad, the internet is gonna fucking erupt this time next week.
Yeah.
Don't get left out. Enjoy /r free folk. It is truly incredible.